Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. The goddess signed in for a year, and I turned over. Chapter 61. At lunchtime, Lu Yunqi can be described as a good son-in-law, a good grandson-in-law's stunning interpretation. Basically, I didn't eat a few bites, but I used public chopsticks to keep my grandfather and mother-in-law picking up vegetables, and they served me well. Qi Zongxun suddenly picked up the wine glass in his hand and said boldly, "Ha ha, it's rare to be so happy today. Kid, you have to accompany me for a couple of drinks." "Okay, come on, Grandpa, I respect you. I'm doing it, you are free." Lu Yunqi quickly got up and picked up the wine glass, touched it halfway down, and drank it immediately. Looking at Lu Yunqi's dining table culture, Qi Zongxun nodded inwardly. At least for now, this kid's tutor is still good. Although there is a huge gap in his family background, there is no shortage of those 3 melons and 2 dates for the Qi family. After having a drink with the old man, Lu Yunqi diligently picked up a chopsticks for Lin Wengxin, a dish she often picked up. "Mom, you eat too." Looking at such a sensible son-in-law, Lin Wengxin has a brilliant smile on her face, and she is also very satisfied with this son-in-law. Especially the gifts from the son-in-law are very popular. Originally, when she saw the man who suddenly appeared next to her daughter in the video, Lin Wengxin was still a little angry. Now it seems that my daughter's vision is really good. Lu Yunqi did a very good job just to be a man in the world, and this was in line with Lin Wengxin's criteria for choosing a son-in-law. At this time, Qi Zongxun put down his chopsticks and said seriously, "Boy, since you and Zan Zan have already obtained the certificate, although the wedding cannot be held for the time being, the meeting between the parents of both parties must be arranged as soon as possible." "Well, Grandpa is right. I will go back to discuss with Zan Zan, and arrange for the parents to meet at that time." "What do you think?" Lu Yun asked quickly after hearing the words. "This is a bit of you do men. You have to go home and discuss with your daughter-in-law about anything." This made Qi Zongxun and Lin Wengxin both smile very satisfied. Qi Zongxun smiled and nodded. "You couple can just watch the arrangement. We can do it anytime." Although these were two young things, Qi Zongxun was very happy that Lu Yunqi was able to ask his own opinion of this old man. In this way, Lu Yunqi's first lunch at his mother-in-law's house ended in harmony and laughter. After eating, Lu Yunqi kept chatting with the old man. When the chat was about 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, he left Kijia Manor because he had to pick up Tang Tang and Guogo after school. Qi Zongxun sent a car to take Lu Yunqi directly to Alistan Kindergarten. After picking up Tang Tang and Guogo, the driver sent Lu Yunqi's family back to the villa. This time, the driver's attitude was extremely respectful. Because now Lu Yunqi is an aunt who has been unanimously approved by the Qi family, these people in the present have to learn to judge the situation. Of course, Lu Yunqi would not care about a driver, because that would only degrade his identity. When he got home, Lu Yunqi cooked dinner for the family as usual, while Tang Tang and Guogo were taken by the nanny to play. At 7 o'clock in the evening, Qi Xuanxuan returned home from get-off work. She can still smell the appetizing aroma of vegetables when she enters the house, and today is a particularly happy day for her. Her husband passed the family's approval, which Qi Xuanxuan is more excited than earning hundreds of millions. The family ate dinner quickly. After eating, Lu Yunqi coaxed the 2 children to sleep as usual, while Qi Xuanxuan went to the study to deal with the company's affairs as quickly as possible. 10 p.m. Lu Yun got up and returned to the room. Qi Xuanxuan had finished her official duties and was taking a shower in the bathroom. 10 minutes later, Qi Xuanxuan put on a translucent silk nightdress, her graceful figure looming under the silk. When Lu Yunqi saw Qi Xuanxuan at the moment, sparks appeared in his eyes, feeling a little dry in his throat, and couldn't help swallowing saliva. "My wife, I'll take a bath too." Qi Xuanxuan smiled and nodded, and said in a seductive voice, "Husband, hurry up." Lu Yunqi. He grabbed a set of pajamas from the closet and rushed into the bathroom. Seeing his anxious look, Qi Xuanxuan laughed out loud. "It seems that my own charm is quite big. Less than 5 minutes." Lu Yun had already taken a shower and walked out of the bathroom. When he came out, he saw Qi Xuanxuan sitting on the bedside playing with her mobile phone. One jumped onto the bed and asked diligently, "Wife, still chatting?" "Well, wow, Husband, you are so handsome. Qi Xuanxuan raised her eyes and looked at Lu Yun's muscular lines with drops of water, and said, idiot. Lu Yunqi was taken aback. What happened to this little Nizi today? She actually became a nympho for herself. Doesn't this always happen after taking a shower every day? Qi Xuanxuan put down the phone, stood up the mountains in front of her chest, lay in a very seductive posture, and said charmingly, husband, come. Lu Yunqi couldn't help swallowing, and rushed down like a beast. Lips face each other. Then, a happy and beautiful music was played in the room, and after half an hour, it ended. But, I haven't rested for 5 minutes. I don't know why Qi Xuanxuan is so excited today or why. Qi Xuanxuan blushed and twisted her buttocks, and she stood up and rode on Lu Yun in a very enchanting posture. At this moment, her exquisite figure was fully revealed. From the angle of Lu Yun's perspective, her blood boiled, thrilling, and the mountains were ups and downs. Her body became hot again, and she felt that her soul had been taken away by her. Then the second piece of happy and beautiful music played. Knowing that late at night, the wonderful music ceased. The next morning, Lu Yun opened his dim sleepy eyes, looked down at the cat-like little woman in his arms and smiled, wife, I woke up so early. After the fierceness of last night, the relationship between the two has heated up to a new height. You have me, I have you. Hey, I woke up before you. Qi Xuanxuan's pretty face was pressed against Lu Yun's chest, and she smiled softly. Lu Yunqi lifted the quilt gently, and saw the red mark left on the snow-white mountain peak. He was very satisfied with his masterpiece. Qi Xuanxuan also watched it, and smiled shyly, very satisfied. Wife, I discussed with Grandpa and the others yesterday, find a time to arrange a meeting between the parents of both sides, you see. Lu Yunqi said solemnly on his face, but he squeezed the mountain covered with strawberry prints very dishonestly. It's big, it's soft, and it feels great. Qi Xuanxuan felt the touch coming from her body, shyly nudged her in his arms, and said in a bit of a whisper, listen to my husband. She found that she was becoming more and more addicted now, even if she was talking about such a serious issue, she couldn't help her heart throbbing. All right. In the early morning in the villa, beautiful and happy music sounded again. When Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan got up, it was already past 9 o'clock in the morning. Fortunately, Tang Tang and Guogo didn't need to go to school this weekend, and Qi Xuanxuan didn't need to go to the company. In the morning, the family went to the mall for a long time and bought some daily necessities, but also bought a lot of them for travel. After a family of 4 had lunch outside the mall at noon, they took the 2 little princesses to the playground in the afternoon. It is worth mentioning that during lunch, Lu Yunqi also accidentally encountered Wen Dongxing selling out the house and handing out flyers. The two pity each other because of the same illness, so they added a WeChat account. In the afternoon at Yudu Disneyland, I met Yu Chuan and Xu Min, who were handsome mothers. Yu Chuan was handsome without Lanwaji, and he was a good match with Xu Min. What is even more bizarre is that Qi Xuanxuan also knows Yu Chuan, and Yu Chuan's true identity is actually the young owner of KidianLiterature.com. At this point, Lu Yunqi had never thought of it. Daddy, can we make a merry-go-round? Tang Tang asked excitedly. After all, they are young now. If they want to sit, they need an adult to accompany them. The 2 little guys really want to play. Okay. Then I will bring sugar and candies first, and let my mother bring fruits and fruits, shall we exchange them later? Lu Yun knelt down, scraping the bridge of Tang Tang's nose, and said in love. Okay, sister, sit down with your mother first. Tang Tang cheered excitedly, and gave Guogo a triumphant look. Qi Xuanxuan picked up Guogo, and she could see the disappointment in the little guy's heart. Guogo, mommy will take you to sit first, okay? Guogo pouted and nodded. In the impression of these 2 sisters, my father is grateful for the time he spends with them, and naturally I like my father. Of course, this is just a choice between father and mother. In this way, Lu Yun picked up Tang Tang and sat on a merry-go-round, while Qi Xuanxuan held Guogo on the car. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the first merry-go-round ride with his daughter, and getting rewarded life skills, master level director ability. Directing ability. Master level, same as screenwriting ability. Lu Yunqi, who was sitting on the carousel, asked silently. Now he already has God level cooking, great writing, master screenwriter, Chinese small song library, business talent, and God-level hacker, if coupled with the master-level director ability. Yes, host, you don't have more skills, when can the salted fish stand up? The system replied with a hatred of iron but not steel. Well, you are the boss, you have the final say. Lu Yunqi answered with a wry smile. I was extremely depressed. Why can't it be like other systems, giving yourself a tens of billions of dollars, isn't it good to be a rich generation? A salted fish, if you want to stand up, you must have the consciousness of being a salted fish, and you must earn it yourself if you want to gain wealth. The system seemed to hear Lu Yunqi's voice, and said something contemptuously. Lu Yun's face was full of black lines, but now he didn't think about that anymore. It's better to have a skill than nothing. Begin to integrate the system to sort out all the information about the director, shooting knowledge, shooting techniques, picture aesthetics and so on. At this moment when Lu Yunqi communicated with the system, the first lap time had come. According to the agreement, Tang Tang was going to sit in a car with Qi Xuanxuan, and Guogo ran to Lu Yunqi excitedly. The happy time of a family of 4, recorded by assistant Xiaogu Qi Xuanxuan's mobile phone, passed unconsciously. Throughout the afternoon, because of Qi Xuanxuan's special status, the amusement activities that her family of 4 played basically declined other people to play together. When playing in a family of 4, there are 4 or 5 female bodyguards to accompany the whole trip. Therefore, there were no accidents until the family returned to the villa at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. When I got home, the nanny prepared the dinner. Although the taste was not as good as Lu Yunqi's cooking, the family was tired of having fun. After a few bites, they were busy with their own affairs. Lu Yun followed the old rules and played with the children for a while, telling bedtime stories. Qi Xuanxuan returned to the study to deal with some company affairs. In the study, Qi Xuanxuan received a call from Ning Nanan as soon as she turned on the computer. President Qi, I am really sorry to disturb you so late, I want to report something to you. It was almost 9 o'clock in the evening at the moment, and Ning Nanan was obviously still a little noisy, it should be at the company. What's the matter, say? This is Mr. Qi, director Wang Jexi, and the screenwriter Xia Yingxi. We have now determined all the matters related to the filming of Tianlong 8 films. We can start filming directly next Monday. It's just this theme song. Choose. Ning Nanan said truthfully. Qi Xuanxuan in the study, holding her mobile phone, meditated for a while, and then slowly said, those music artists in my company can't do their songs. Haochen Entertainment has also trained singers. After all, an entertainment company must develop in all aspects. Director Wang listened to the company's artiste songs, but they all did not match the theme of Tianlong Babu, which was not appropriate. Then ask other companies to ask, this movie must be filmed well, it is very important to me. Qi Xuanxuan said in a deep voice. This is the first TV drama she invested after taking control of the Haochen Group, and it is still a very unpopular theme. Qi Xuanxuan's pressure is also great. Although the Haochen Group belongs to the Qi family, Qi Xuanxuan is not the only one in the Qi family. Mr. Qi, today director Wang discovered that under the 8 novels of Tianlong on Kidian Literary Network, the author had left a lyrics, and he also noted that it would be more suitable to sing in Hokkien. I called Kidian Literary Network and they said that the original author said that if you want to buy the copyright, you have to compose the lyrics first. He agreed to sell it only when he was satisfied. That's why I called Mr. Qi. Let's take a look first. You should hurry up and shoot. I'll take care of this. You only need to feel at ease and make a good TV series. After Qi Xuanxuan finished speaking, she hung up the phone. I picked up my mobile phone and opened the dianwenzu.com app, and found the book Circle of Tianlong Babu. At the top spot, you can see a headline. The 8 theme songs of Tianlong can be used in Unforgettable Sutra. The following are the words I written. To Qi Xuanxuan's surprise, this book Circle post has more than 10,000 floors and more than 30,000 likes. When she saw the lyrics inside, her eyes widened. Laughing at you, I was scheming in vain. Love to compete for the beauty of the mirror flower. I'm afraid that luck will pass away in a blink of an eye. Aha, can't bear the bright world. I can't understand this problem all my life. Swallowing phoenix kisses, rain, burial, sunset, never hesitated. It is not desperate to deceive the mountains, drive the sea and practice the snow trail. With these 2 eyes and 100 arms, or 1,000 hands, you can't guard against it. Qi Xuanxuan read the lyrics of Unforgettable Sutra in the entire post almost word by word. The more I read, the more excited I am, and the more I read, the more I feel that this song is tailor-made for Tianlong Ba Bu. Finally fell deeply into this song. When Lu Yunqi took care of the child and returned to the bedroom, Qi Xuanxuan was still staring at the lyrics. He hummed a few words from time to time. Wife, so absorbed, what are you looking at? Lu Yun got up and walked behind Qi Xuanxuan, gently kneading the fragrant shoulders. Ah, husband, I found a very good lyrics, but unfortunately I can't sing that feeling. Qi Xuanxuan pouted and said coquettishly. She has tried it many times. Although she is not a singing major, she still knows a little bit. Lu Yun glanced at Qi Xuanxuan's phone screen. Good guys. It's been almost 2 days since I wrote this up, and my wife has only seen it now. If it weren't for the occasional time when I saw her secretly chasing my book, I would seriously suspect that she was a fake fan. What song? Let me see it. Lu Yunqi pretended to be confused. When he moved this song over, he mainly wanted to relive his childhood memories, and secondly, to help his wife's company save some money for the song. Who would have thought that Haochen Group only discovered it now? Now, the artistic conception of this lyrics is really good. The original author said that it would be better if you sang it in Hokkien. Qi Xuanxuan explained seriously. Lu Yun picked up the phone, and the corner of his mouth ticked. My wife, this is easy to handle, do you want to listen? I'll sing it for you. I am afraid that in this world, only Lu Yunqi knows the tune of this classic old song. Really, husband, you can still sing. Qi Xuanxuan looked disbelief. When he was in Taoyuan village before, Lu Yunqi also sang a song to himself, probably because there was no accompaniment and he didn't realize how good it sounds. Your husband has a lot of postures. Singing can be considered a hobby. Lu Yunqi said smugly. It's knowledge, okay, from the big night, just say something that makes people misunderstand. Qi Xuanxuan couldn't help but blushed and corrected. Let's go to the entertainment room, there are equipment, I sing you can make sure you like it. Lu Yunqi directly pulled Qi Xuanxuan up, and said confidently. Immediately, the two came to the entertainment hall on the first floor. There is a private theater and small KTV, and the sound insulation is very good. After Lu Yun tuned a background music, he began to sing recalling the original tune of the song. The melodious Hokkien is in the entertainment room. Quote, swallowing phoenix kisses, rain, burial, sunset, never hesitated. It is not desperate to deceive the mountains, drive the sea and practice the snow trail. The twisting of flowers turns the wine into a maddening whirl. With these 2 eyes and 100 arms, or 1,000 hands, you can't guard against it. Qi Xuanxuan became a fan of Mime very intoxicated. The bright moon is high, and the singing in the entertainment room is melodious, which makes it easy for people to fall into the world of Rapunzel that day. Husband, how can you sing this song? After Lu Yunqi sang it again, Qi Xuanxuan sat down on his lap very excited, wrapped his arms around his neck, and asked curiously. The lyrics of this song seem to have only been published for 2 days, and no one has written it yet. What about my husband? Wife, I said I composed the music myself, don't you believe it? Lu Yun raised his mouth slightly in the dim light, and said triumphantly. When Qi Xuanxuan heard it, she didn't believe it in her heart, but she kissed it gently on her mouth, and then said shyly, well, I believe, can you write a score? I want to buy the copyright of the lyrics. Quote, my wife, you make me very embarrassed. In this environment, what if someone is protesting when doing such a dangerous thing? Qi Xuanxuan was originally dressed thinly, and her attractive figure made Lu Yunqi very hot. As for the composition of the first, Unforgettable Sutra, it's too simple, just move it out of your mind. Ah, who is protesting? Qi Xuanxuan asked in surprise when she bumped into something on her thigh. What do you mean? Lu Yun gave a gesture and lay on his back on the sofa. Qi Xuanxuan understood in an instant, her furious little fist punched, husband, you are good or bad? A handsome and versatile man, a charming beauty. Beautiful music resounded through the entertainment room. This time it is more bold and beautiful than the music in the bedroom. The next day, the two came out of the entertainment room. Because today is Monday, Lu Yunqi resumed his normal working hours and sent 2 Xiaobaos to school in the morning. And Qi Xuanxuan arrived at the opening ceremony of the 8 divisions of Tianlong. Today, all the actors in the 8 TV series of Tianlong were present, and the live webcast was also started early in the morning. Wang Yuyan from Tianlong Babu played by Bai Cha. Chao Feng played by Huang Hua, veteran actor. Duan Yu actor. Chen Ming, Hong Kong actor. Xu Zhu played by Fan Huang. A Zhu actor. Lu Ling. A Z actor. Lu Kui. Other people in Haochen Entertainment have served as some important supporting roles in the play. Because the novel Tianlongba is too popular, there are also some famous actors and important old drama bones. Even in China, the well-known Pan Wen and Wang Wei acted as the middle part of the play Zhengchun and Yelu Hongji, that is, Chao Feng's elder brother. Both of these two have very good acting skills, and they are both old drama bones recognized by the country and countless audiences. Qi Xuanxuan came to the opening ceremony. Many actors had already arrived. When her car was parked, Ning Nanan came over and opened the door. President Qi, everything is ready, just wait for a good day and auspicious day to hold a booting ceremony for tailoring. After Ning Nanan opened the car door respectfully, he reported. Qi Xuanxuan stepped on a pair of crystal high heels, got out of the car, took a look, well, take these red envelopes and send them to everyone in a while. After hearing the sound, Assistant Xiao Jiyu wrung out a bag and gave it to Ning Nanan. This can be regarded as a custom in the launching ceremony of new dramas. Basically, those present will get some red envelopes. As for the size of the red envelope, it's all on my own luck. Okay, President Qi, what happened to the theme song? I heard that several music companies are already buying the copyright of the lyrics. If they buy it, we can buy it from them again. Much more expensive. Ning Nanan twisted a big bag of red envelopes in his hand, and asked with some worry on his face. For a TV series, the theme song is also very important. If you can buy the lyrics directly and then find someone to compose the song, it will reduce a lot of costs. This is done, it's okay, you stare at the filming of the TV series. If you encounter any problems during the filming, you must solve them as soon as possible. Qi Xuanxuan ordered. Originally, as the boss of a group, there was no need to attend the launching ceremony of a new drama, but this TV drama is too heavy for Qi Xuanxuan. As for the theme song, she had already thought about it last night, and only waited for Lu Yunqi to write the composition before contacting the original author. The good day is here. Under the auspices of director Wang Jexi, screenwriter Xia Yingxi, starring Bai Cha, Huang Hua, Chen Ming and others. The TV series, Dragon Babu, was filmed at the start. Qi Xuanxuan participated in the whole process in accordance with the startup process, and took part in the ribbon cutting and incense promotion on stage. As for the opening banquet later, I did not participate. After all, the starring role this time was my best friend. Of course, her relationship with Bai Cha was not disclosed in the crew. At noon, Qi Xuanxuan returned to the company and continued to prepare for the land auction in the Na area. Now that the Lengjia competitor is missing, the chance of success has increased by a few %, which makes Qi Xuanxuan a lot easier. It seems that after solving Lang Feng's potential opponent, Qi Xuanxuan feels that everything in the company is going well, perhaps because of the presence of Lu Yun. Inside the Fairview Villa, since Lu Yun's old book is over, he can now get a good understanding of the operation of the dark web. Throughout the morning, I basically learned about the structure of the dark web. I have to say that the network architecture of the entire dark web makes Lu Yunqi very satisfied. In addition to having a strict hierarchical system, Lu Yunqi also discovered a secret on the dark web. There are professional killers on the dark web. Because Lu Yunqi was airborne directly and systematically, he didn't know the dark web before and thought he was a pure hacker organization. It seems that the world is not so peaceful. Lu Yun sat up in the garden, muttering to himself while looking at the computer in front of him. Qi Xuanxuan suddenly called, "Hey, husband, what are you doing?" On the other side of the phone, Qi Xuanxuan's voice was still so clear and beautiful. "I'm playing on the computer at home. What's the matter with my wife? I missed me at noon." Lu Yun replied with a smile. "Go and go, every day all day long. My mother will come to the house in the afternoon, and you will come to the company to accompany me in the afternoon." "Ah, my wife, my mother is coming, I'm going to your company. Lu Yunqi was a little embarrassed when he heard that. What is the logic of this? The mother-in-law came to the house. As the son-in-law, shouldn't the mother-in-law be received at home? Why did my wife call me to the company? Husband, give you 20 minutes and show up in front of me immediately, otherwise, don't even think about sleeping in my bed at night. Qi Xuanxuan gritted her teeth threateningly on the other end of the phone. I really don't know, or I'm pretending to be stupid. My husband is so handsome, and if my mother passes by, it's not safe to stay at home. Received, within 20 minutes, promise to arrive, I will leave immediately. When Qi Xuanxuan threatened her assassin, Lu Yunqi quickly agreed. Then put away the computer and rushed out of the villa. Although I don't know why, Qi Xuanxuan wants to ask herself to go to the company, but she can't sleep in her bed at night, that's not okay. 18 minutes later. The gate of Haochen building. Lu Yunqi drove the car directly to the door, and after giving the key to a security guard at the door, he rushed to the president's exclusive elevator. The last 30 seconds. Panting, Lu Yunqi finally pushed open the door of Qi Xuanxuan's office. Along the way, the people in the company thought something had happened. However, the secretaries who often eat the dog food of President Qi and Lu Yunqi are not panicked at all, and even have a little envy on their faces. Their president has such a handsome husband who spoils her wife. Husband report. Lu Yunqi spoke to Qi Xuanxuan in the boss chair breathlessly. Qi Xuanxuan stood up when she heard the sound and walked to Lu Yunqi with a cup of tea. My husband has worked hard, come and have tea. Lu Yunqi, doesn't MMP exercise every day? How come you feel so tired after running 2 steps? He took the teacup and took a sharp sip. Well, it's much more comfortable. Wife, what's the matter with me in such a hurry? After he sighed, Lu Yun got a little better and asked curiously. Qi Xuanxuan's heart trembled. She was worried that it would be unsafe to put Lu Yunqi with her mother for a long time. When Zheng Qiu was looking for an excuse, a flash of light suddenly flashed in his mind. With a calm face, he said, didn't you say that you want to compose the lyrics? Are you ready? I'm going to talk to Kidian Literary Network about buying copyright in the afternoon, so I called you here. Qi Xuanxuan said, her eyes fixed on Lu Yunqi. Ah, I still think why is it? It's simple, I will write to you right away, and then you can talk to Joe, on Kidian Literary Network to ensure success. Lu Yun got up and walked to the boss chair, sat down, and said confidently. Halfway through, I almost said Zhou Yan's name, but fortunately he changed it in time. Although, he knew that there were some things that paper couldn't contain the fire. Joe, husband, do you know someone from Kidian Literature Network? Qi Xuanxuan asked as if she had grasped some key points. Qi Xuanxuan herself is also very familiar with the people on KidianLiterature.com, and there is no manager surnamed Joe in her impression. No, wife, I will write now, please be quiet, don't disturb my thinking. Lu Yun shook his head straight. Qi Xuanxuan pursed her mouth and said nothing, waiting for Lu Yun to compose the music. The other side. Lin Wangxin came to the villa because Qi Xuanxuan had told everyone in the villa in advance, and she also sent Lin Wangxin's photos to the nanny. So when Lin Wangxin came to the villa, the nanny also knew each other. In addition, although Lin Wangxin is rich, she doesn't have much air, and she can talk to these nanny, but most of the content is inquiring about Lu Yunqi. Obviously, all the nanny in the entire villa gave Lu Yun unanimous praise, which made Lin Wangxin quite proud. After all, his son-in-law is really handsome and capable. 4 p.m. When it was time to pick up Tang Tang and Guago from school, Lu Yunqi had to leave Qi Xuanxuan's office. Throughout the afternoon, after Lu Yunqi finished composing the Unforgettable Sutra, he became an exclusive masseuse. Qi Xuanxuan sits in the boss chair to deal with documents, while Lu Yunqi stands behind and pinches her shoulders. Husband, wait for me. When Lu Yunqi was about to leave the office, Qi Xuanxuan scribbled after signing a document and shouted. This is the first time for her to leave work early. But in Qi Xuanxuan's view, it is worth it for her husband and daughter. The two left the company arm in arm, envious of everyone in the company, and many single dogs feel that they don't have to finish eating at night. After I went to the kindergarten to pick up sugar candies and fruit, I went home directly. As soon as I got home, I saw Lin Wangxin and the nanny Xiao Wang sitting in the living room chatting. You are back. Lin Wangsun stood up and said with a smile. Grandmother, grandmother. Tang Tang and Guago rushed directly in front of Lin Wangsun. The two little guys hadn't seen their grandmother for a long time, and they seemed very happy and excited. Before Lu Yun got up, Lin Wangsun would come to play with her two granddaughters for a few days at intervals, and she could see that the relationship was very good. Oh, Tang Tang, Guago, you two are beautiful again. Grandma brought you a lot of toys this time. Lin Wangsun squatted down and hugged the two little babies into her arms. Lu Yunqi smiled and said, Mom, sit down for a while, I will show you my hand, let you taste my craft. After speaking, he went into the kitchen. Qi Xuanxuan looked at her husband's diligent back with a smile on her lips, and then she sat in the living room to play with her child with Lin Wangsun. An hour later, Lu Yunqi used the ingredients in his planting space to make 2 vegetarian dishes, as well as a few local Yudu dishes. At the dinner table, Lin Wangsun was full of praise for Lu Yunqi's cooking skills, and she became more and more pleasing to her son-in-law. After dinner, the nanny took 2 little girls to play. Lin Wangsun called Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan to the garden. Come and sit down, I have something to ask you. Qi Xuanxuan sat down next to Lin Wangsun when she heard the sound, while Lu Yunqi was pulled to sit next to Qi Xuanxuan. Mom, if you have any questions, just ask. Qi Xuanxuan said. Well, when are you two going to let our elders meet? Lin Wangsun asked Zhanshan when she opened the door. When Lu Yun heard the words, he replied, Mom, I discussed with Zan, and I will take my parents over tomorrow. If Grandpa and other elders are free, I can meet tomorrow. Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan had indeed discussed this matter at the company in the afternoon. In this situation, it is best for the elders on both sides to meet, otherwise there will probably be complaints on both sides. After all, both of them have obtained the certificate, and the children are in kindergarten. The elders of the two sides have not met yet. What's the matter? Okay, then we will meet tomorrow. I and Grandpa will talk about it. Lin Wangsun smiled, then got up and said, Then I will go to bed first, and you two should rest earlier. The two got up and looked at Lin Wangsun's slender back. Qi Xuanxuan suddenly said, Husband, do you think I am looking for a companion for my mother? Ah, wife, do you think we will agree now? Lu Yunqi was taken aback after hearing it, puzzled. It's not a year since my father has gone. The girl is anxious to find a stepfather for herself. If I let my mother-in-law hear it, I don't know what to think. Qi Xuanxuan pouted. She is quite lonely by herself now, and she will feel better with a companion. In the future, if my mother lives in my own home every day, and my husband is so charming, I can't call him to the company every day. Just in case. Thinking of this, Qi Xuanxuan trembled in her heart. In her opinion, all women in the world must be prevented. They all talk about fire prevention, theft and prevention of girlfriends, and now there is one more, prevention of young and beautiful mothers. Lu Yunqi didn't know how to answer Qi Xuanxuan's words just now, as if his wife made sense. Women who lack the moisture of love for a long time will accelerate aging. Seeing Lu Yun staying silent, Qi Xuanxuan sighed again. Husband, if you weren't so handsome, it would be great. Wife, what do you mean? Don't you like ugliness now? That's impossible. Lu Yun picked up Qi Xuanxuan, slapped her hips gently, looking embarrassed. Is there any reason for this? There are women who dislike her husband for being too handsome. I finally understand why so many readers are single. So handsome. No, of course I still like a handsome husband. Qi Xuanxuan grabbed Lu Yun's neck and said with a smile, Surrender. Seeing the beauty in his arms, Lu Yunqi didn't continue, and went back to the room with Qi Xuanxuan in his arms. Lin Wangsun went back to her room, and she actually chose the room next to Qi Xuanxuan's couple. He just took off his clothes and lay in the bathtub, admiring his white skin, humming a happy little song in his mouth. I heard movement next door. Hearing the sound, blushing, thinking of the gift from the son-in-law. The next day, Zhou Weiying and Lu Kun arrived at the villa early before 8 o'clock. And this morning, Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan were also rare to get up in the morning. When the parents-in-law arrived, she and Lin Wangsun accompanied Lu Yunqi to greet them warmly. The old couple Lu Kun came to the villa and looked at the luxurious villa. Both of them were shocked. Although Qi Xuanxuan is still building a villa in her hometown, it is really luxurious. After all, the luxury of rural villas and urban villas are not in the same aesthetic line. For the two sisters Tang Tang and Guago, this morning is undoubtedly the happiest, because their favorite people are now with them. One after another, the elders of the Qi family also came. Lu Yunqi took Qi Xuanxuan and stood at the door to greet her. At this time, Zhou Weiying and Lu Kun just walked out after receiving a call from their relatives. When Qi Xuanxuan saw the second elder come out, she smiled and said, "Mom and Dad, Yunqi and I can stay here. You can go inside and take a rest." "Girl, it's okay, second uncle Yunqi and the others are coming soon, let's be together," Zhou Weiying said with a bright smile on her face. "My son found such a beautiful and rich daughter-in-law, and he was very happy to have such a big villa in the big city of Yudu." After a while, the all-black BMW team stopped at the door of the villa. Fortunately, the big red flowers were not tied, otherwise others would think they were married. Obviously, this was the motorcade arranged by Qi Xuanxuan to pick up Lu Yunqi's relatives there. After everyone got out of the car, they saw such a luxurious and magnificent villa, and their eyes were full of shock. It seems to refresh their perception of luxury. Of course, the happiest thing for these relatives is to see Qi Xuanxuan. After all this is hers, and when she was in Taohuyuan village last time, Qi Xuanxuan gave a lot of gifts to her relatives. Each enthusiastically greeted Qi Xuanxuan and Zhou Weiying and his wife, while Lu Yunqi was politely greeted. There is no sense of existence. Lu Yunqi, you relatives, the eldest uncle, the second uncle, the young aunt, and the old watch. Without me, Lu Yunqi, where would you have a chance to meet such a wealthy relative as Zan Zan? My role is the biggest, okay. Seeing her husband's aggrieved look, Qi Xuanxuan forced her smile and let the nanny at home take her relatives to the villa to rest. After the relatives all entered the villa, Lu Yunqi looked at Qi Xuanxuan's wanting but not laughing, and couldn't help but, "My wife, please laugh out if you want to. If you hold back your smile like this, I look uncomfortable." Puff puff, giggle, Qi Zan Xuanyu couldn't help but laugh, holding her red lips in her hand. Lu Yunqi, when did my wife be so obedient? I just like to do this kind of thing about sprinkling salt on the wound. At this moment, my heart is refreshing. No, I just feel like my husband looks like this, well, so cute. Qi Xuanxuan said with a smile. Lu Yunqi was silent. He wanted to ask, "My wife, do you praise a man for being cute? Are you sure you're not looking at my jokes?" Zhou Weiying and his wife were very pleased to see their son and daughter-in-law so happy and so happy. At this moment, there was a team of luxury cars at the door of the villa. This time, it was the Qijia Manor. Under the leadership of Qi Zongxun, a group of mighty authors arrived in a luxury car. Qi Xuanxuan quickly closed her smile and enthusiastically introduced Zhou Weiying and Lu Kun to her family. Qi Zongxun brought his wife Ning Xueqing to Zhou Weiying and his wife, shook the hands of Lu Kun and Zhou Wei, and said, "My father-in-law, my mother-in-law, I am very happy to meet you. Yunqi is a very good child, thank you for your training. The child's grandparents, your two old ladies are very polite. If you want to say thank you, we should thank you for being willing to marry a good girl like Zan Zan to our family Yunqi." Zhou Weiying smiled politely. "Yes, it is the blessing that Yunqi of our family can marry such a good wife as Zan Zan." Lu Kun also held Qi Zongxuan's hand and said very politely. After a few people warmly and politely at the door, Zhou Weiying and his wife, under Qi Xuanxuan's introduction, shook hands with the other relatives of the Qi family one by one. This scene made Lu Yunqi very happy. Since he was approved by his grandfather, the whole Qi family has also had a very good attitude towards Lu Yunqi, the door-to-door son-in-law. This can be seen from the expressions of these relatives who shook hands with Zhou Weiying and his wife from the bottom of their hearts. "Grandpa, Grandma, let's all go in and rest." Finally, after Zhou Weiying and Lu Kun shook hands with relatives of the Qi family, Lu Yunqi proposed. "Okay, father-in-law, mother-in-law, let's go in and talk first." Qi Zongxun nodded and shouted directly. Zhou Weiying also smiled and greeted her. A group of people returned to the villa. Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan greeted each other. Fortunately, the villa is big enough, otherwise, with so many people, it would be hard to sit down. After the arrangements were made one by one, the most exciting moments began. According to the customs of Yudu, Although Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan are already how old their children are, they have not yet held a wedding, and the elders of the Qi family have seen Lu Yunqi for the first time. After all, the relatives of the Qi family, including those on Lu Yunqi's side, have sat down. Qi Xuanxuan led Lu Yun to get to know Qi's relatives one by one. Husband, this is my uncle. Qi Xuanxuan walked to a middle-aged man who appeared to be in his 50s and introduced. Hello, uncle. Lu Yun started to hold a cup of tea, handed it to Uncle Qi Xuanxuan with both hands, and shouted respectfully. Okay. Qi Chen squeezed out a smile on a face that was more ugly than crying, took the teacup, took a symbolic sip, and then took out a red envelope and handed it to Lu Yun. Lu Yun smiled and took the red envelope and put it on the tray held by the nanny behind him, then. Husband, this is my third uncle. Hello, San uncle. The same as a red envelope. Quote. From the Qi family's relatives, it took about half an hour to walk down in a circle. The babysitter who followed Lu Yun's body had already replaced the second tray with red envelopes. This is the legendary receipt of red envelopes and soft hands. Fortunately, these are all packaged bank cards, if you use cash. Well, I'm afraid that this house won't be piled up. After all, Lin Wengxin gave a big red envelope of 100 million yuan. The relatives of the Qi family are also rich people. There will be no situation of 10,000 yuan or 20,000 yuan. Of course, everyone writes the amount on the red envelope, and this is also to worry about Lu Yunqi's relatives here. Although these relatives have been seen in Taohuyuan village before, this is the first time the elders of the two sides have met. According to the custom, the relatives of the man must also give the woman red envelopes. In order to avoid the embarrassment that the man's relatives are dissatisfied with the red package and the woman's relatives cannot hold the red package, all the relatives of the Qi family directly gave the bank card. Finally, Qi Xuanxuan brought Lu Yun up to Qi Zongxun and solemnly introduced. Husband, this is my grandfather, you have seen it. Lu Yun laughed and raised a cup of tea, and handed it respectfully. Hello, Grandpa, I'll drink 2 more cups with Grandpa in a moment. Haha. Good boy, okay, then I will drink this cup of tea first, and wait for your wine for a while. Qi Zongxun smiled heartily. Taking a deep sip from the teacup, he immediately took out a red envelope and put it in Lu Yunqi's hand, and exhorted, Boy, treat my granddaughter well from now on. It's necessary, Grandpa, don't worry, I will treat Zan Zan well and protect Zan Zan in my life and next life. Lu Yunqi accepted the red envelope and promised with a smile. At this moment, I was extremely happy. The red envelope given by the Qi family was definitely a lot. Suddenly I found that my 20 million was worth the money, it was worth it. Then, Qi Xuanxuan introduced Ning Xueqing ceremoniously. Lu Yunqi always said hello with a smiling face, and his mouth was like wiping honey. Won the love of Ning Xueqing, there is no doubt that Lu Yunqi got another big red envelope. After this change, Lu Yunqi made a preliminary estimate and received a total of more than 20 bank cards, with a cumulative amount of nearly 1 billion. After the relatives in the Qi family introduced, it was Lu Yunqi's turn to bring Qi Xuanxuan to introduce his relatives one by one. Lu Yunqi's relatives here obviously also knew this custom. They had already prepared red envelopes before they came. Qi Xuanxuan changed her mouth and received a lot of red envelopes. After the changing ceremony, the elders of both sides talked and laughed in the hall, and the atmosphere on the scene was very peaceful. Lu Yunqi handed all the red envelopes he received to Qi Xuanxuan, which perfectly embody the ear-raking nature of Yudu men. After turning in, Lu Yunqi saw a harmonious scene in the hall, and said, My wife, I will show my hand in the kitchen and let everyone taste my cooking skills. Now that I have received so many red envelopes, I have to cook a few dishes myself to make sense. Hee. Come on, husband, behave well. Qi Xuanxuan smiled and encouraged. Her husband was recognized and loved by Qi's family, which made her very happy. What's even happier is that Lu Yun took the initiative to turn in all the red envelopes he received to himself. Although Qi Xuanxuan had no idea about money, she was very happy this time holding the red envelope that her husband turned in. Wife, give me some motivation. Lu Yun smiled and pointed to his cheek and said. Moi. Qi Xuanxuan stood on her tiptoe on Lu Yun's face, and kissed her. This scene made all the relatives present laugh. The young couple have such a good relationship. It's nice to be young. Lu Yunqi walked into the kitchen amidst yelling laughter. Qi Xuanxuan blushed as everyone said. Although it is normal to have love with her husband, it is the first time to show affection in front of so many relatives. Soon, under Lu Yunqi's personal chef, all kinds of fragrant delicacies were already on the table. In the special banquet room of the villa, all relatives sat full of 5 tables. The tables are also specially arranged by Qi Xuanxuan. Grandparents, parents-in-law, my mother, younger sister, uncle, and Lu Yunqi's second uncle, plus Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan, are exactly 10 people in this table. On the other table, Qi Xuanxuan was also very considerate, basically half of Qi's relatives and half of Lu Yunqi's relatives there. The reason for this arrangement is to deepen mutual understanding between the relatives on both sides, and most importantly, it does not sin against anyone. After everyone was seated, Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan began toasting to the elders. Of course, even if Lu Yunqi was at home, he did not let Qi Xuanxuan drink, but only let her drink juice. This move attracted the appreciation of all the relatives present. Loving my wife, can be felt from any small detail, the love between these 2 little husbands and wives. A family dinner ended in harmony and full of laughter. Under Lu Yunqi's suggestion, everyone went to the garden to start free activities, playing mahjong, chess, and hot springs. Some people who like fitness went to the gym. Some people who like to play badminton go to the lawn in front of the garden to play badminton. Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan are naturally also 2 of the tennis team. After Qi Xuanxuan changed her sports clothes, she was stared at by Lu Yun thiefly. My wife, you look so beautiful in this dress, and you feel so good. Qi Xuanxuan is wearing a white pleated short skirt, her hips are raised up high, and her white tight top shows her graceful figure to the fullest. Qi Xuanxuan smiled and turned around in a circle. With her movement, the hem of her skirt fluttered, revealing the white inner part, but she didn't feel it at all. How about it? Isn't it more beautiful and more feeling? It's true, but my wife shouldn't say anything. Your skirt is too short. Let's go to public places. Lu Yun said with a black face. I just want to appreciate everything about my wife. There are so many people who play basketball in a while, especially there are a few old watches who are already unbalanced in their hearts. It feels so bad. How about telling my wife to change her trousers? Hey, husband, you are so cute like this, you can take a look. Qi Xuanxuan lifted up her skirt and giggled. I'm wearing a double layer, with sports underwear on the inside, and safety pants on the outside. It's safe, dumb pig. Although Lu Yunqi heard Qi Xuanxuan say this, he wouldn't go away, and he felt a little more comfortable. When the 2 of them were about to set off, Lu Yunqi suddenly looked at Qi Xuanxuan's chest and said in wonder, Hey, my wife, your breasts. Lu Yunqi can guarantee that his wife's is definitely not silica gel, otherwise he will definitely not live until now, but he really doesn't understand, how come he suddenly became smaller. Lb. Qi Xuanxuan directly picked up the tennis racket and knocked it on Lu Yun's head, pretending to be angrily, you haven't watched enough of every formal thing at night. Besides, I wear all sports underwear. It looks small. Ah, is that so? I feel it. A salty pig's knuckle went online, took the opportunity to squeeze, and then solemnly affirmed, well, my wife is so smart, so strong, so tight. Quote. Lu Yunqi. Qi Xuanxuan roared with a blushing face, and then raised her foot. Hiss, oh. Lu Yun clamped his legs together, the green veins on his face were exposed, and his whole body was almost unsteady. This is too cruel. From his black face, you can see the pain at the moment. Wife, you will lose your happiness like this. After a while, Lu Yunqi got better, and said very aggrieved. Qi Xuanxuan saw that there were tiny beads of sweat coming out of Lu Yun's forehead. She walked over and held her nervously. Old husband, no, it's okay. There's something, and it's a very big thing. Lu Yunqi's pain hadn't passed yet. After half an hour, the 2 came to the court slowly. When Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan arrived on the court, a group of people on the court had already begun to fight fiercely. There are only 2 courts in the entire villa. One is for those who can play, and the other is for a special nanny to teach those who can't play. Especially for Lu Yunqi's relatives over there, the village really doesn't have that condition, so basically they don't know how to fight, so they can only teach as a nanny. And these relatives of Qi Xuanxuan's family are very good at playing, so her aunt and sister-in-law are fighting fiercely on the court. Qi Xuanxuan suddenly asked, "Husband, can you play tennis? Isn't this just about passing the racket? It looks very simple." Lu Yun raised the tennis racket in his hand, and threw it in the air, trying to pretend to be a beep. Result: click. The tennis racket fell to the ground. Lu Yun looked embarrassed, really wanting to find a hole to get in. Puff, "I'm sorry, husband, I really can't hold it back." Qi Xuanxuan smiled, covering her mouth. The posture of holding the tennis racket just now was wrong, and she had to pretend to be in front of her wife. Qi Xuanxuan didn't want to expose it, but she couldn't help but laugh when she saw that the pretense had failed. "Well, my wife, why don't you tell me the essentials first? My learning ability is very strong," Lu Yunqi said embarrassingly. "Fortunately, this is in front of my wife, so I can't learn it." "Okay, let me teach you the essentials first." Qi Xuanxuan nodded, walked up to Lu Yun and started to demonstrate. The mouth explained. First, the tennis racket is held. The index finger and middle finger are slightly separated to form a comfortable angle. Hold it at the upper position of the handle, so that the index finger, thumb, and other fingers form a stable triangle support, which gives the racket more space. More support and control. Then, the first step is to turn the racket. Hold it at the throat of the racket with the hand that does not hold the racket, and then drive the racket by turning and turning the shoulders to make full preparations for hitting the ball in advance. "That's it," Qi Xuanxuan said while demonstrating. Lu Yunqi watched Qi Xuanxuan's movements seriously and listened to her explanation. When catching the ball, after turning to start the racket, the hand that has not captured the racket should release the throat in time, then the racket will continue to pull back, and finally the racket will sink. It should be noted here that the palm of the hand is facing down and the racket surface is closed at this time, instead of the palm of the hand pointing to the side and the racket surface is perpendicular to the ground. Quote. Qi Xuanxuan completely regarded Lu Yunqi as an entry-level novice, patiently explaining, starting from the most basic gripping, catching, and hitting points. "I have to say that it is really good to have a high IQ head." After Qi Xuanxuan's explanation and demonstration, Lu Yunqi quickly learned the theory. Practice it. It should be considered a pass. Of course, this is just Lu Yunqi's personal feeling. "Wife, I feel that I can fight you," Lu Yun said enthusiastically after learning. Qi Xuanxuan smiled and squinted her eyes slightly. "Husband, you have just entered the teacher's door, do you have to challenge the master?" "That's a must." As soon as Lu Yun started speaking, the match between the two relatives was over. There was no suspense in the end that the young sister-in-law won. After the aunt came off the court, she picked up a towel to wipe her sweat, and sighed, "Hey, people are getting old, so you can't accept the old, you can't keep up with your physical strength. Sister-in-law, have you beaten me before?" The sister-in-law smiled. When the aunt heard this, she glared at her sister-in-law. "Qi Feifei, you can't save me some face, where are the younger generations?" Lu Yun picked up 2 bottles of water and walked to the aunt and sister-in-law. After handing 1 bottle, he looked at the aunt and said, "Auntie, you played well." As far as Lu Yunqi is not an entry-level player, Auntie really played very well. "Ha ha ha, this son-in-law is listening, the aunt is very happy, and the aunt will give you a 10 million red envelope later, ha ha." The aunt smiled happily. When Lu Yun heard this, he was immediately excited. "Auntie, if you are like this, I can flatter you and beat you to bankruptcy, believe it." But this also made Lu Yunqi seem to have found a very profitable business opportunity. Then, he didn't worry about playing tennis with Qi Xuanxuan at all, and became a service clerk. After seeing the relatives of the Qi family, he took a bottle of water and went over. Then shamelessly just slapped it out. Not only won the unanimous praise from the relatives of the Qi family, but more importantly, the money is so easy to make. After a while, the money came in more than 100 million more unknowingly. I don't know if this guy thinks it's quick to make money, or how to drop it. He couldn't get water later, and he massaged the elders one by one after he finished playing. Really, there is still a generous return for sweat, and another 1 billion is credited to the account. Qi Xuanxuan was simply speechless about her husband's way of making money by licking the dog, and she couldn't help but want to swear words in her heart. "Oh grass, what kind of husband did I find? This money-making mind is too flexible." However, Lu Yunqi didn't feel much. It was a glorious job to earn money. After harvesting 200 million yuan, Lu Yun smiled and came to Qi Xuanxuan's side. My wife, I found this way. Money is coming soon. Bah, husband, you are really the best, can you think of such a shameless way to make money? Qi Xuanxuan said contemptuously. Lu Yun shrugged, my wife, you can't say that. You see, today, your husband and I made more than 1 billion yuan. Isn't that fast? Upon hearing this, Qi Xuanxuan was speechless. She wanted to refute, but she couldn't find an excuse. Today, Lu Yunqi has indeed made more than 1 billion yuan, and he has also turned it over to himself. Wife 200 million, you see? Lu Yunqi asked tentatively. In fact, for Qi Xuanxuan, money is just a number in her eyes, and Lu Yunqi is not just licking a dog's physique. The main reason why I would give all the red envelopes I received to Qi Xuanxuan was because, first, the nature of a man in Yudu, to pet, love, and love his wife. Second, these are all red envelopes given by the relatives of the Qi family. To put it bluntly, they said they were a meeting ceremony for Lu Yunqi, but everyone understands that this is the result of Qi Xuanxuan's favor. If there is no Qi Xuanxuan, who knows him Lu Yunqi? Who would give him such a large amount of red envelopes? Your income from labor is regarded as your pocket money, Qi Xuanxuan said generously. When Lu Yun heard this, he was even more excited, walked up and hugged Qi Xuanxuan, and kissed him. My wife, you are so kind, love you. This move caused a roar of laughter on the court. In this way, the afternoon came when it was time to pick up Tang Tang and Guogo both from school. Lin Wangsun, Zhou Weiying and his wife were all vying to pick up their granddaughter from school. In the end, Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan went. The school would never let strangers pick up the students from the school, so the third elders had to wait at home obediently in the end. This was the happiest time for Tang Tang and Guogo after school, because their parents came to pick them up together. When they got home, the two sisters became group pets in an instant. However, when they got home, the two sisters were deeply attracted by the little nanny of Lu Yunqi's cousin. The two took turns teasing the little baby in the stroller, just like playing with a Barbie doll, either touching their faces or holding hands. Even more generously, he took out his toys and shared them, which made the little milk wahaha laugh. Relatives in the family are also happy to watch funny pictures of children amusing them. After dinner in the evening, everyone held a bonfire party in the villa, and dozens of people played until more than 11 o'clock. Fortunately, the villa is large enough and there are more guest rooms. Of course, there are some younger generations of the same family who feel that there is nothing fun to be with the elderly, and they leave after eating. The rest of the people can live in the villa. It took Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan nearly half an hour to arrange the rooms for all their relatives. At 11:30, the couple returned to their room. Wife, washed together today? Lu Yunqi asked anxiously as soon as he returned to the room. Today, Lu Yunqi can be said to have played the role of a good son-in-law to the fullest. Moreover, Qi Xuanxuan's 200 million that he finally earned from labor was divided by Qi Xuanxuan. However, Qi Xuanxuan gave him a reward privilege, which made Lu Yun fly with excitement. Husband, is the reward you want is to take a bath together? Qi Xuanxuan asked with a smile. It is true that Lu Yunqi's performance today is very good, and Qi Xuanxuan herself feels this sincere blessing from relatives. Asking for the 100 million is purely to find an excuse to give my husband a reward. No, of course not. Lu Yun quickly shook his head and denied. How can such a big good thing be used for such a low-level interesting thing? Oh, what kind of reward does the husband want? Qi Xuanxuan stepped forward and locked Lu Yun's eyes, and asked with a smile. It's finally hard for my wife to give me a reward of my own choice. Of course, it is to choose the best service from my wife. Otherwise, I wasted such a rare opportunity. Lu Yun put his hands around Qi Xuanxuan and smirked in her ear. There was a tingling Qi Xuanxuan in her ears, and she asked with a short breath, then, husband, what service do you want? Every cell in Lu Yunqi's body was cheering with that voice, and his skin felt a tingling. Hey, my wife, I used to wait on you. Let's change tonight. Lu Yun put his arms around Qi Xuanxuan's waist and rubbed himself against him. Husband, do you want to experience the emperor's treatment? Qi Xuanxuan said with a smile. The wife can satisfy my little wish. Lu Yunqi gently kissed Qi Xuanxuan's red lips with a look of expectation. Qi Xuanxuan raised her head to look at Lu Yunqi affectionately, her hand stroking his cheek. Well, satisfy you. Haha, I know my wife is the best. Get up. Lu Yun excitedly hugged Qi Xuanxuan directly into the bathroom. After half an hour, the two of them came out of the bathroom, all just wrapped in a bathrobe, steaming all over their bodies. How about it, husband, are you satisfied? Qi Xuanxuan licked her lips with her pink tongue, and said enchantingly. Lu Yun recalled the experience just now. I'm so satisfied. For the first time to enjoy his wife's initiative, it feels better than a living god. Satisfied, satisfied, my wife will make persistent efforts. This feeling is really cool. Only readers who vote are eligible to enjoy the imperial service. Lu Yun got up on the bed and lay down directly facing the quilt. Wife, there is a massage. Qi Xuanxuan also naturally rode on his back, ready to massage him. Husband, I am not very proficient in the technique, you have to remind me if there are deficiencies. Lu Yun heard the words, reached out and took the mobile phone, and started to operate it. He grinned and said, Hey, wife, wait a moment. After speaking, Lu Yunqi's mobile phone screen began to change continuously. About a minute later, finally, he found the resource he wanted from a website called K Broadcasting. My wife, here is an instructional video, just follow her to learn it. Lu Yun started to open the phone screen that had returned to the normal page, and said with a smirk. Slap. Qi Xuanxuan slapped his back and curiously said, Husband, you actually. I didn't expect that my husband would still have such a serious video. Wife, I just went to K Broadcast to find this, I have never watched it. Lu Yunqi quickly explained. Your image of a good man can't be ruined like this. Oh, Qi Xuanxuan pouted, then took a piece of fruit from the fruit tray on the bedside table and fed it to Lu Yunqi's mouth. The picture at the moment is very harmonious. Lu Yun puffed and ate the fruit while Qi Xuanxuan was learning the massage techniques in the video seriously. Gradually, Qi Xuanxuan's pretty face became more rosy as the video progressed. Although this is indeed not a serious massage video, in the end, Qi Xuanxuan still learns the technique in the tutorial and starts to massage Lu Yun. Lu Yun got up and said to the enjoyment. Well, buyer is cool. As Qi Xuanxuan's massage deepened, her cheeks were already hot and her body was too hot. In particular, what kind of essential oils are there to open the back, massage and so on. The next day, after having breakfast, relatives all left one after another. Qi Xuanxuan went back to work at the company, and Lu Yunqi was doing nothing at home alone, and was about to turn on the computer to see what was interesting recently. As a result, as soon as I turned on the computer, I saw a pop-up window of hot news. According to the latest news from the Yudu Land Resources Bureau, the land of Na 23,984 and Na 23,986 in the Na area will be auctioned this afternoon. Out of curiosity, adding this number seems a bit familiar, so Lu Yun went in and took a look, and found that the location of the two pieces of land was very close to his own. Lu Yunqi took out the land property rights file in his system space and took a look. Number, Na 23,982. Ha, I was scared to death. Fortunately, this is not the same piece of land. Lu Yunqi let out a sigh of relief, and the stone in his heart fell. I can just take this opportunity to see how much money that piece of land can be worth. Another piece of news is that the Weibo post about the Tianlong Babu is already a press release, which makes Lu Yunqi quite looking forward to it, mainly looking forward to what kind of Wang Yuyan the white tea will bring to everyone. At this time, Lu Yun's phone rang. Hey, Yun Kita, are you planning to open a new book recently? The voice of Zhou Yan, the editor of Kitian Literature Network, came from the other end of the phone. In a few days, there are other things recently. Lu Yunqi said lightly. Since the end of Tianlong Babu, Zhou Yan has made a phone call or WeChat almost every day, and the first sentence at the beginning is always asking about new books. Yun Kita, many people have composed music. If you want to buy the copyright of the lyrics, do you want to read the score? Zhou Yan asked tentatively. He had to treat it this way, because Zhou Yan received more bonuses than the salary of many responsible editors for several years. You send it to C. Lu Yunqi said lightly. In fact, this song has been given to his wife's company by the Inside Story. After all, the scores submitted by Haochan Entertainment came from Lu Yunqi's own hands. If I let people from other music companies find out, I'm afraid I will vomit blood. After hanging up the phone, Zhou Yan sent a dozen copies of Unforgettable Sutra on WeChat. Lu Yunqi scanned it directly and replied with a message. Haochan Entertainment. After receiving the information from the headquarters of Kidian Literature Network, Zhou Yan notified the company's department responsible for discussing copyright. Then he sent back a WeChat message to Lu Yun. Okay, Yun Kita, you must remember to find me when you open a book here. New book recommendations can be arranged at any time. Lu Yun sat in the villa, looked at the message on the phone, and smiled. This is the result, the editor's attitude towards the author. Humble to the extreme. The morning passed quickly, and Lu Yunqi cleaned up his planting space a little bit. In addition to seasonal vegetables, he also planted a few fruit trees. However, due to the problem of the growth cycle, fruit trees must not bear fruit so quickly, so they have to wait slowly. At noon, Lu Yunqi prepared lunch as usual. Came to Qi Xuanxuan's office. Husband, here you are, I'll tell you good news. Qi Xuanxuan's face looked blankly at the file, but when she saw Lu Yunqi, she immediately smiled. Lu Yunqi put down the food and looked at Qi Xuanxuan curiously. My wife, what makes you so happy? Could it be that he thought of a unique skill? Bah, what do you think about you? All day long, there is something wrong in your head. Qi Xuanxuan cursed and walked to the dinner table. Kidian.com just called me back. We got the copyright of that song. Qi Xuanxuan continued with a smile after sitting down. In her opinion, the music composed by her husband can still win from more than a dozen scores. Her husband is really amazing. Hearing this, Lu Yunqi wanted to say something lightly, it was all basic exercises. Just to pretend to beep like this, he was afraid that if Qi Xuanxuan found out that all of this was written and directed by Lu Yunqi, then he had to endure the boxing technique that Zhou Weiying personally taught Qi Xuanxuan. Congratulations to my wife. I heard that the TV series is also beginning to be filmed, and it seems that I will be able to meet with the audience soon. Lu Yun quickly turned off the topic after making a perfunctory congratulatory sentence. After all, Lu Yun felt a bit sad about his conscience when he talked about music scores. Yes, now the theme song is also available. I will ask my assistant to find the company's singer to record it. When the time comes, I can use it directly after the play is finished. Qi Xuanxuan is also very excited when she thinks about it. This is her first work since she took office, and she looks forward to achieving good results. Lu Yun laughed, did not speak, and after opening all the lunch boxes, he sat on Qi Xuanxuan's boss chair. Now, every few days, I have to check Qi Xuanxuan's computer to prevent any accidents. Qi Xuanxuan was eating her food with relish, and seeing Lu Yunqi sitting on the boss's chair, the more she looked, the better she became. Seeing the arc of a smile rising from the corner of his mouth, there was a bolder idea in his mind. Husband, are you okay in the afternoon? Accompany me to bidding. Qi Xuanxuan walked to Lu Yunqi with her lunchbox and said coquettishly. Bidding, I don't understand those. Lu Yun raised his head and took a look, then said with a wry smile. Of course he knew what Qi Xuanxuan said about the auction, but he really didn't understand it, so he shouldn't mess with his wife. However, Qi Xuanxuan said with a smile, it's okay, I don't understand, let's go and see, just raise a sign and bid. What Qi Xuanxuan said was right. They went to the scene to raise a sign to bid. The group has already evaluated the two plots, and Qi Xuanxuan only needs to go to rounds of auctions with his own ceiling price. In fact, her main purpose is to bring Lu Yun to the business side, which can also be regarded as taking him to meet the world. Well, that afternoon I will accompany my wife. Lu Yunqi nodded in front of the computer in response. Qi Xuanxuan was very happy to hear that Lu Yunqi had agreed to go. This was the first time she took her husband to a business occasion. After Qi Xuanxuan had lunch, Lu Yunqi had already updated the firewall in the computer again. This time, except for a bodyguard car followed by Qi Xuanxuan, she was in a car with Lu Yun, and the two were like normal lovers. Lu Yun started to drive, Qi Xuanxuan sat in the co-pilot. Yudu Land Resources Management Bureau. The auction of the two plots starts at 2:30 in the afternoon. But now it's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a lot of people have already arrived, and one by one in suits and shoes, looks very energetic. When Qi Xuanxuan and Lu Yunqi arrived, everyone's eyes fell on them. Let me go, what's the situation? Is this the one exposed on the internet before, Qi Xuanxuan's husband? Dude, you didn't put on eye drops when you went out in the morning. Isn't it obvious? That's right, do you usually see a man standing next to Qi Xuanxuan? Still so close. These whispers naturally fell in the ears of Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan. Qi Xuanxuan took the initiative to pull Lu Yun's arms. Hearing everyone's discussion, a happy smile appeared on her face, and she asked in a low voice, "How is it, husband? Are you nervous?" Lu Yun glanced at everyone present, and raised his hand to scrape the bridge of Qi Xuanxuan's nose. "This little battle will not make your husband and me nervous." A beep was installed invisibly, and then the palm of his hand vaguely wiped the sweat from the palm of his trousers. Qi Xuanxuan did not go to tear down her husband. "I'll go, that handsome guy is as handsome as in the video." "Sister, are you serious? Isn't I more handsome than on the video?" Invisibly, "I don't need to eat dinner anymore. Don't tell me, I seem to be fed with dog food too." From entering the door to the meeting room where the auction was held, the two undoubtedly became a landscape of dog food. It caused tons of damage to the surrounding older single men and women. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. The auction started on time. All those who participated in the auction were given a red numbered sign and related introduction materials for 2 plots of land. Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan got the number 33. "Next, we will start auctioning the land of not 23,984, with a total area of 100,000 square meters, with a starting price of 1.5 billion yuan, and an increase of not less than 50 million yuan each time. The auction has just begun, and everyone is standing still. 1.5 billion. Finally, a middle-aged man picked up the number plate and asked for a price. Lu Yunqi was curious why Qi Xuanxuan didn't bid the price. "My wife, is this piece of land so expensive? Why don't you bid the price?" When he came, he knew that Qi Xuanxuan was determined to win the 2 pieces of land, but now he is sitting firmly on the Daoyutai. "Husband, generally before we auction the land, we will have the appreciation space, profit and risk level of the land. Generally, the early quotation is the lowest. Someone will naturally increase the price after a while." Qi Xuanxuan was talking, and she suddenly reached Lu Yun's ears and whispered, "Husband, as long as this piece of land is taken in less than 3 billion, there will be a profit." Really? After Qi Xuanxuan finished speaking, the prices there began to skyrocket. 1.7 billion, 1.85 billion, 2 billion. In a short while, it has already risen by a full 500 million. This speed is almost impossible to treat the soft sister currency as money. Moreover, there were several people who did not speak, including Qi Xuanxuan. Although she has not taken over the company for a long time, as the eldest daughter of the Qi family, she is still very courageous in doing things. This multi-billion project will not make her panic. 2.3 billion, 2.5 billion. When the price reached the 2.5 billion mark, there were not many bidders. "Husband, hold up the card," Qi Xuanxuan reminded. Lu Yun lifted up the number 33 sign, 2.8 billion. Where did Lengtaching come here? Suddenly the price was raised to 2.8 billion. "Hush, be quiet, that belongs to Haochen Group." Just when many people were talking in a low voice, a bad voice sounded, "Ha, really 2 ignorant juniors. If the land is more than 25 years old, they won't make much money, and they have a swollen face to fill a fat man. Old Yuan, there is no way, the Haochen Group is rich, it doesn't matter." Lu Yun heard that the prestige passed, and in between, a middle-aged man with a numbering plate number 46 in his hand looked about 40 or 50 years old. This person is the boss of Yudu Igia Real Estate Company, Yuan Fei. And another ridiculous middle-aged woman holding the number 44 number plate in her hand was full of strange colors. "Old man no. 46. HMPH, I didn't expect that after Lao Qi left, the Haochen Group is now actually in the hands of a little girl. I really don't know how high the enemy is." The reason why Yuan Fei feels so uncomfortable is that his company originally had a budget of 2.8 billion, and he still wanted to fight it harder. As a result, this guy directly blocked his bottom price as soon as he came up, and it was uncomfortable for anyone to change it. Woman 44 gritted her teeth, 28.5 billion. Lu Yun glanced at Qi Xuanxuan, who nodded. Hey, you have to serve the old when you are old, 3 billion. Lu Yunqi said something painlessly. His words were not loud, but enough people present could hear them. Everyone present was shocked. Even Qi Xuanxuan did not expect that Lu Yunqi would suddenly say such a sentence. Obviously she also knew that this was revenge on the two elders in the business just now. Yuan Fei was said by Lu Yunqi, and almost didn't come up in one breath. He is an entrepreneur of the older generation who has a face and a face in Yudu. When did he be beaten like this by a younger generation? In the end, after Lu Yun called out 3 billion, no one raised the price anymore. My husband is awesome, Qi Xuanxuan happily praised after the staff announced that they had obtained this piece of Na 23,984 on the 33 road. Lu Yun smiled. It was a confident smile. This caused Yuan Fei and the middle-aged woman to see their teeth itchy. That piece of land is really good, but if it exceeds 3 billion, it is a loss, and everyone in the industry basically understands it. The second piece of land, Na 23,986, has an area a little larger than the previous piece of land. In the end, it was also paid by Lu Yun for 3.5 billion yuan. When Qi Xuanxuan came down from the audience, she only told Lu Yunqi that the reserve price prepared by the Haochen Group, as to when to bid halfway, was up to him. Finally, after harvesting 2 plots, Qi Xuanxuan and the two returned to Haochen Group. Husband, some of them are recording that song, do you want to listen to it? After all, you composed the music. Qi Xuanxuan asked with a smile while getting in the car. Chapter 71. Wife, let's go pick Tang Tang and Guogo first. Lu Yun glanced at the time, and it was already 3:50 in the afternoon. Okay, Qi Xuanxuan responded and sent a message to the bodyguards who followed, asking them to follow her car to pick up the baby. 4:10. The entrance of Alistan Kindergarten. Lu Yunqi had just parked his car and found that today's kindergarten entrance was unusually lively, and many parents were watching. Husband, is it so lively at the kindergarten entrance every day? Qi Xuanxuan asked curiously. She didn't come to pick up the baby very often. Before, she was picked up by the nanny. After Lu Yunqi came in the back, he was basically picking up the baby. No, everyone queues up in an orderly way. Lu Yun shook his head, also wondering. When they walked into the crowd, they saw a clearing at the entrance of the kindergarten. A heart shape is made of roses on the ground, and a cupid arrow is made of various snacks around it, facing the door of the kindergarten. A man wearing a dark blue tuxedo with a fluffy haircut of 37 points, it can be seen that he has been carefully taken care of, and his bright pointed leather shoes look handsome. I'm going, this guy is not going to confess to Xu Min. Lu Yunqi said something horribly. Husband, who is Xu Min, do you know? Qi Xuanxuan also recognized the protagonist of today's confession, and was very curious about the woman who made Yu Chuan so careful. Teacher of Tang Tang and Guogo. Lu Yun replied, looking at the arrangement in front of him. Oh, Qi Xuanxuan also knew Xu Min, but she didn't expect that the young master of the dignified Kedian Literature Network would actually like a kindergarten teacher. Although Xu Min is indeed very beautiful. 4:20. Under the leadership of the teacher, the kindergarten children lined up at the gate, waiting for their parents to pick them up. Wow, a lot of flowers. Wow, there are so many snacks, that's so cute, that's chorus. The children saw flowers and snacks in the gate. Girls were attracted by roses, and snacks were attracted by snacks. After the parents picked up the children, most of them left, only some who liked to watch the excitement stopped to watch. Dad, Mom, Papa, Mommy. At the gate, Tang Tang and Guogo were very happy when they saw their parents and yelled. Baby, did you listen to the teacher at home today? Lu Yun knelt down, hugged the two little cuties into his arms, and asked pettingly. Tang Tang is pretty good at school today. Tang Tang said proudly holding Lu Yun's left arm. Guo was also in Lu Yunqi's arms, and said excitedly, Dad, Guo is also very good today. Well, obedient in school is Dad's good baby. Lu Yun picked up a little princess in one hand. Wow, Dad, look, isn't that Uncle Yu? Why does he buy so many flowers for a big man? After Guo was picked up by Lu Yun, she saw Yu Chuan standing there holding a large bouquet of roses. Lu Yunqi was about to say, but Tang Tang took the lead and said, "Sister, you are so stupid. Didn't you see that he was going to give the flower to Teacher Shu? Uncle Yu Chuan wants to talk to Teacher Shu, confess." Both Qi Xuanxuan and Lu Yunqi were taken aback. "I'm going. Does this guy Yu Chuan come to school every day?" Even the kindergarten students knew him, and they knew it was a confession. Is my daughter too smart, or is this society developing too fast? At this moment, Xu Min slowly walked out of the kindergarten gate with a look of surprise on his face. Obviously, Yu Chuan's move made her unexpected. The relationship between the two of them now is a little better than ordinary friends, but a fool can also tell, this is a confession. When Yu Chuan saw Xu Min coming out, holding 99 roses, he knelt down on one knee in front of Xu Min, with a sincere expression on his face. "Xu Min, be my girlfriend." A group of friends and relatives from Yu Chuan immediately followed suit. "Promise him. Promise him." The parents of some children, perhaps knowing Yu Chuan's identity, screamed under the influence of the atmosphere. Lu Yun turned his head, his eyes fell on Qi Xuanxuan. "Wife, shall we look at it for a while, or?" When they came just now, the two agreed to go to the company to see the theme song, so they didn't want to delay too long. "Let's go, the company still has business," Qi Xuanxuan said with interest. "Such a romantic scene is not your own, so there is no need to waste time." When Lu Yun heard the sound, he said something to Tang Tang Jiyu and the family drove away. Haochen Group, a professional recording room. President Qi, a staff member in charge of tuning, stood up and said hello. "Yeah," Qi Xuanxuan nodded, then pointed to the headset on the workbench. "Give me a headset for my husband." "Good, good." The staff immediately took a headset to Lu Yunqi. Lu Yun put on his headphones and looked at the singer in the recording studio. "Laughing at you, I was scheming in vain." After hearing this sentence, Lu Yunqi frowned. Is this person sure to speak Cantonese? The voice, and emotional handling all lack that taste at all. If he wants to sing this, I am afraid I am sorry for Teacher Zhou. This singer is one of the few in our company who understands Cantonese. It has been recorded for almost a day, and he is still not satisfied. The staff next to him complained. He is a very professional sound engineer, but this song is really too difficult. And he also knows the importance of this song to Haochen Entertainment, and Lu Yunqi is the composition of this song. After Lu Yun pondered for a moment, he turned back to Qi Xuanxuan and said, "My wife, he can't sing this song." It's not that Lu Yunqi deliberately belittled the singer inside, but that he is really not suitable for singing this kind of song with a sense of time. "Well, why don't you try, husband?" Qi Xuanxuan said with a smile. She has heard Lu Yunqi sing. Although it is a cappella, the sound is really good. This is why she brought Lu Yun to the recording studio. Every piece of music creation has its special emotions, and the emotions in the music are the soul of the whole song. Does this mean kicking the pavilion a bit? Lu Yun said with a smile. He also didn't want that this song, which was a perfect match for Tianlong Babu when on earth, was sung too watery. "Husband, this song is very important to me." Qi Xuanxuan seemed to know what was in Lu Yunqi's heart, and said righteously. "Well, I will try, but my guitar is not very good." Lu Yunqi said gently. "But his guitar is really not good, if it's the piano." "It's okay, husband, I believe you." "Dad, come on, Tang Tang believes in Dad too." "Dad, come on, Dad is the best." When Lu Yunqi listened to this mother's words, he was not hypocritical. He was destined to pretend to be a beep, so let's do it. The staff spoke to the singer in the studio, the singer came out, and Lu Yun got up and walked in. The singer was a bit disdainful, but when Qi Xuanxuan was standing at the door, she could only sit on the workbench and pick up the headphones. Walk into the recording studio. Lu Yun picked up the guitar next to him and after some tuning, his fingers began to play on the strings. Lying, composing, and perfect singing voice, with Lu Yun's full emotion at the moment, sing this song with a god-level effect. Laughing at you, I'm scheming in vain. Love to compete for the beauty of the mirror flower. Aha, reluctant to bear the brilliance of the world. Chan's life is not able to understand this problem, swallowing wind, kissing rain and burying the sun never hesitated. It's not desperate to deceive the mountains, drive the sea and practice the snow trail, and twist the flowers to deflect the wine into the world's madness. The singer sitting outside, the sound engineer, listening to Lu Yunqi's singing in the headphones, seemed to start to show the martial arts scene of the dragon in 8 parts in his mind. Be fascinated, drunk, enjoying with ears. The song of more than 4 minutes ended soon. At the end of the song, the sound engineer was stupid. The singer also opened his eyes wide and looked at Lu Yunqi in the glass window, his eyes filled with incredible color, never expected that this man could sing so well. Qi Xuanxuan took the 2 little girls and couldn't hear Lu Yunqi singing inside, but from the expressions of the sound engineer and the singer, she knew that Lu Yunqi would sing better with professional equipment. How about it? Seeing that Lu Yunqi had put down the guitar inside, Qi Xuanxuan walked to the workbench and asked, "Mr. Qi, your husband's singing is so sensible, so perfect, I can't find a place to cultivate." The sound repair master said admiringly. He has been in this business for more than 10 years, and he has heard too many singers record songs, which is not a single recording or half a day, and some even several days may not necessarily find that feeling. But this one was perfect at once. "Oye, my father always sings very well," Tang Tang said triumphantly. Guago is also dancing and dancing, seeming to be happier than when she got a little red flower in kindergarten. "Dad, it's the best." Qi Xuanxuan smiled, and then her eyes fell on the company's singer. "Ashamed," the middle-aged singer said straightforwardly. "As expected, he composed the song, and I feel that he sings this song as if it were written by him." When the sound engineer heard it, his eyes flashed like light. If this is the case, then this person is too talented. Writing lyrics, composing music, singing, all-round talent. At this time, Lu Yun started to ask from the inside for a long time, but no one responded. He walked out from the inside. "How's it going?" "Wow, Dad, they all say you sing well, but Tang Tang has long known that Dad sings best." Tang Tang and Guago both rushed towards Lu Yun, boasting proudly. "Moi." When Lu Yun got up and squatted down, the 2 little girls each gave one. "Mr. Lu, perfect, you sang this song perfectly. It fits the artistic conception of the lyrics." The sound repairer praised without concealment. The singer also came up and asked sincerely, "Mr. Zhang, this song is perfect only if you sing it." "That's it," Zhang Xiao asked with a smile. He didn't even think about being a singer star, writing and writing books at home, playing on the computer, and occasionally playing the piano. Isn't he good for him? How tired to sing. Pass. "Well, it's over," the 2 replied almost at the same time. Lu Yun picked up the 2 girls and walked to Qi Xuanxuan. "Then we should go home to cook and eat." No joy can be seen from his face, as if it was recorded this time. It was normal. "Yeah," Qi Xuanxuan nodded, and then said to the sound repairer, "Remember to send me a demo of the song." After speaking, the family left the company. On the way home, the sound engineer had already sent her the demo, and Qi Xuanxuan, who was sitting in the co-pilot, was directly connected to the car's Bluetooth. Just as he was about to put it, I heard 2 tender and surprised sounds of Tang Tang and Guago. "Wow, Mom, look, that's our teacher Shu. That uncle is on it too." Qi Xuanxuan heard about her reputation, and a picture of Yu Chuan and Shu Min appeared on a large LED display in a shopping mall next to the highway. Lu Yunqi, who was driving, missed it, but when he was driving forward ahead, in the dark night sky, several large characters composed of light spots appeared. "Shu Min, I love you, can you be my girlfriend?" Close double-angle bracket. Then, those light spots formed a large heart-shaped pattern and Shu Min's smiling face. "I'm going, that handsome second-generation rich man, can play, so romantic, it seems that teacher Shu has agreed." Lu Yunqi, who was driving, said with a smile. "I also started to figure out that this idea is not bad, but it is far from enough." "Yes, it's so romantic." Qi Xuanxuan sighed while looking at the romantic moment in front that should be operated by a drone. "Mom, what is romance?" Tang Tang asked innocently, tilting his head. Qi Xuanxuan looked at the city full of confession outside and touched Tang Tang's head. "You will know it when you grow up." "Oh, okay." Tang Tang pouted her mouth as if she didn't understand, and then began to look at the pictures of teacher Shu outside. Qi Xuanxuan's, romantic as all other people's, lost color on her face. She was able to see everything from the light of Lu Yunqi. "My wife likes romance too." Lu Yun pretended to be silly. "First, I have to find out what kind of romance my wife likes. After all, This social status is different, and their romantic concepts are also different. Just like a female writer who codes at home every day, her romance is that of 100 liters. Those girls who work in the factory, maybe a simple movie, as long as they are with the people they love, it is all romantic. But for some urban white-collar workers, there is a piece of elegant violin music in the restaurant on the 108th floor of Udo. The two sit on the sky terrace, taste a certain brand of red wine, and watch the night view of Udo. Romantic. Do you think there is any woman who doesn't like romance? Qi Xuanxuan asked irritably. Although today I find that my husband has more and more advantages, I still look forward to seeing such a romantic scene. Well, I mean, what kind of romance do you like? A low-key two-person world or a high-key world? Lu Yun paused, pouting his lips and continuing, it's like this. When Qi Xuanxuan heard this, the corner of her mouth twitched, her eyes narrowed. Husband, you don't want to imitate it too. This is so boring, people have used it before, don't like it. The company has basically settled things now, and our honeymoon trip to the world of two people should be on the agenda. Lu Yun thought in his mind, how can he create a different romance for his wife? Qi Xuanxuan nodded. Now the new drama is being filmed, the theme song has been finalized, and the land for the real estate branch has been completed. It's rare to have this gap, but it's time to go out for honeymoon with her husband. The two of them are still short of a wedding, because of the customs of Udo, the father cannot hold a celebrity event within the year of his death. Well, I will arrange the company's affairs in the past 2 days, and we will go out to play. Qi Xuanxuan muttered for a moment, then said. The family returned home after eating out. Lu Yunqi was still responsible for banging the two children to sleep, and Qi Xuanxuan was listening to the song Lu Yunqi sang with her mobile phone in the room. Suddenly, there was a very good idea. If you let yourself sing, will you become a superstar in the music scene? Time passed slowly. 2 days passed in a flash. In the past 2 days, Qi Xuanxuan has taken care of the company's affairs. On the other hand, Lu Yunqi found the places where the two of them were going to travel on the internet. He did not choose those popular tourist attractions, nor did he choose to go abroad. Instead, I found a place very close to the devil, Zhoushan Taohua Island. On this day, Qi Xuanxuan called Lin Wangxin to help bring the two little princesses, and then she and Lu Yun packed up their things and prepared to go to Peach Blossom Island. The entrance of the villa. Dad, Mom, I wish you a pleasant journey, remember to bring us a gift back. Tang Tang stood at the door and was holding her little hand by Lin Wangxin, said milkily. Daddy, Mommy, you have to come back sooner, I will miss you. Guago also waved. Mom, it's hard work. I'll be back after playing with Xuanxuan for a few days. Lu Yunqi looked at Lin Wangxin and said, then squatted down and said to the two little guys, you have to listen to your grandma at home, do you know? To listen to the teacher, Dad will come back to bring you fun. Okay, Dad, said the two sisters very reluctantly. After all, during this period of time, they have had a deep relationship with Lu Yun, but the two sisters are very sensible, knowing that this is where Mom and Dad are going to travel. They couldn't go because they were going to school, and Lu Yunqi also promised that when the two sisters were on summer vacation, he would take them out to play. 9 in the morning. The two came to Udo Airport like a couple in love. After flying for a few hours, 2 people in a car and a boat finally came to Peach Blossom Island. Before coming, Lu Yunqi had booked a homestay, and it hadn't been developed yet, and there was no hotel or something. When we arrived at Peach Blossom Island, the peach blossoms did not bloom because the season was not yet in sight, and the peach trees were full of green buds. Wow! After stepping on Peach Blossom Island, Qi Xuanxuan couldn't help but exclaimed, her eyes widened, and she took a deep breath of the floral-scented air here. Lu Yunqi was not much surprised by the scenery here, but after seeing the surrounding environment, he said in distress, no wonder the price is so cheap when I book a homestay online. It turns out that this place is even poorer than my hometown. Originally, I wanted to take my wife to see Peach Blossom Island, which is surrounded by the sea. It is also a place that has appeared in Tianlong Ba Bu, and I can play here to my heart's content. But now, take a look at the scene. Completely deviated from my own expectations. Husband, the scenery here is pretty good, let's just have fun here, the unknown trip is the most enjoyable, right? Qi Xuanxuan said with a grin, it didn't matter. As the overbearing female president of Haochen Group, she rarely had such an opportunity to come out to play. Lu Yun picked up the suitcases of the two and walked to Qi Xuanxuan and asked, "Oh, what did the wife say? Didn't there be many kinds of trips, but I think the focus of this trip is not the surrounding environment, but the people who accompany her." Qi Xuanxuan wrinkled her nose and said with a playful expression. Lu Yunqi showed a playful smile on his face. "It seems that my wife has a peculiar idea." "Where do I have any peculiar thoughts? Hurry away," Qi Xuanxuan said with a faint blush on her face. "Okay." Lu Yun shrugged and lifted their hard boxes. "Let's go. Let's see if the host has prepared everything I want." In fact, when Lu Yunqi came before, the most important thing was to let the host prepare some ingredients. After all, the two will live here for a few days. If you go to the shops on the island, you will need to ride an electric bike for a long time, so the first thing to look at is the ingredients. Walking into the yard, the overall look is pretty good, with the main wooden house on the upper and lower floors, and a large yard with a fence. It feels like in a martial arts movie. Because it is a characteristic homestay, the whole decoration style is also idyllic, which is very emotional. This kind of decoration is like in the martial arts world. A couple of gods and immortals stay away from secular disputes, live in a paradise, and live a carefree life in Wuyu. In an instant, Qi Xuanxuan felt that she had been taken into Peach Blossom Island in the 8 divisions of Heavenly Dragon. Entering the room, Lu Yun began to put down her luggage. Qi Xuanxuan walked to the table and looked at it, and she poured a glass of water there was still prepared. "My husband has worked hard, take a drink and rest." Lu Yunqi put down his luggage, sat on a chair, and took a sharp sip of the water. Qi Xuanxuan walked behind her and pinched his shoulders with a smile. "How about it, husband, is this strength okay?" Lu Yunqi: "Well, yes, my wife's massage technique is getting better and better." "Is this imperial service going to start again? Wife is a bit abnormal here. I don't know, the bed here is not strong anymore." 10 minutes later, Lu Yun raised his hand, gently pressed the jade hand on his shoulder, and asked, "I have been on the way and didn't eat much. Wife, are you hungry? I'll get you some food." "Oh, husband, don't worry, let's take a look at the house first," Qi Xuanxuan said. "Oh, okay." Lu Yunqi heard Qi Xuanxuan's numbing voice, and instantly felt his body full of strength. Moreover, the next 2 days are to be stayed, and the quality of the bed should really be checked. As soon as they came in from the outside yard, Lu Yunqi was in the living room where they were now. On the left was the kitchen, and on the right was a toilet and tool room for farm tools. The second floor, there are 2 rooms, each with a separate bathroom and toilet. The overall style belongs to that elegant pastoral style, with a string of paper crane wind chimes hanging at the door. As soon as the wind blew, the wind chimes began to jingle, and they felt comfortable and relaxed. "Wow, husband, I didn't expect that you have a good vision for choosing a place. The decoration here is very good and very flavorful." Qi Xuanxuan walked to the second floor, looked at the room, and couldn't help but praise her. "That is necessary, but I don't know how the quality of the bed is." Lu Yun lifted his chin and walked to the bed. Slap, slap. After taking 2 shots, Lu Yunqi continued, "Well, my wife feels that this bed is quite solid." "Ha, rogue," Qi Xuanxuan cursed shyly. "Then I can only treat wives and hooligans," Lu Yun said cheeky. Qi Xuanxuan walked slowly to the side of the bed, checked all the bed sheets and everything, and then used the phone lights to check the entire house. No pinholes were found, and then he breathed out. "My wife, don't worry, I found this one that has a good reputation on the internet, and there is no secret photo or something." Lu Yunqi naturally knew what Qi Xuanxuan was doing, and said with a smile, "When I walk into an unfamiliar environment, especially homestays and hotels, there have been a lot of news exposures before, and some bad bosses have changed too much by following some pinhole cameras to steal other people's hidden world. Husband, it's better to be careful." Qi Xuanxuan walked over and sat on Lu Yunqi's lap, hugging his neck with her hands, and said with a smile. The two experienced a different kind of passion. The breeze blew, the wind chimes played beautiful music, and even the beds in the house followed the rhythm to cater to the rhythm. In the air, the breeze cannot dissipate the dry heat. After half an hour, Lu Yun got up to cook, while Qi Xuanxuan was in charge of cleaning up the room. The two of them simply cooked 2 bowls of clear noodle soup because they didn't have a big meal when Lu Yunqi just arrived here. When Qi Xuanxuan cleaned up the room and came down, Lu Yunqi's noodles were already ready. Husband, what are you making delicious? The real farmer's clear noodle soup, try it. Lu Yun began to hear the sound and brought out a bowl, and said with a smile. There is a poached egg in the bowl with a few green vegetables, and the rest are noodles and clear soup. Qi Xuanxuan sat on the table, picked up the soup ladle, gently scooped up a spoonful of clear soup, blew the heat on it, and took a sip. Wow, husband, it tastes good and very fragrant. Qi Xuanxuan praised sincerely. Lu Yunqi was not surprised by this compliment. As a master of cooking skills, if a bowl of clear noodle soup can't be done well, he might as well find a piece of tofu and kill him. The taste of a farmhouse is more in line with the present, Lu Yun said with a smile. After the two had eaten, Lu Yunqi was about to get up to wash the dishes, but Qi Xuanxuan took the lead. In her words, you don't wash the dishes when you cook, and you can't let your husband do everything by yourself. Although Qi Xuanxuan is the president of the Tangtang Haochen group, she did all the housework by herself when she brought 2 children abroad by herself. In fact, only 2 sets of bowls and chopsticks and 1 pot. Lu Yunqi didn't say anything about this. It felt like a couple in a farm, living a rural life of a man farming and a woman weaving. After the two had cleaned up the house, they sat quietly at the door, looking at the endless peach forest outside the courtyard. Although the peach blossoms of this season are not yet in full bloom and are full of buds, what catches the eye is still a rare sight, with the breeze blowing and the fragrance of the earth from time to time. Lu Yunqi looked at Qi Xuanxuan in his arms, slowly closed his eyes, enjoying the rare tranquility. Young man, do you still have meat in your house, so even me a bit. Just when the two were snuggling and enjoying the breeze, a voice that looked a little old suddenly sounded. Lu Yun opened his eyes and saw an old man with a straw hat and a towel around his neck standing in front of him. Old man, there is more, how much do you want? Lu Yunqi looked at the old man in this dress, it should be a nearby villager. Qi Xuanxuan also got up and gave the stool to an old man. Sir, sit down for a while. Thank you, can I have 1 or 2 catties? My wife wanted to eat meatballs, but I didn't go to the store to buy them today, so I came to ask. The old man said, okay, wait for me to get it for you. After Qi Xuanxuan said, she took the initiative to enter the house and fetch meat for the old man. The old man sitting in the chair looked at Lu Yunqi and nodded. Young man, you are just here. Lu Yun said at the beginning, yes, I just moved in today. It may be because Lu Yunqi himself came from the countryside, and he felt that these uncles were much simpler than those in the city, and he was very happy to chat with the uncles. I live in the yard next to you. I will come a few days before you. How long do you plan to stay? The old man seemed to like Lu Yunqi's appearance and continued to ask. Let's live for 2 days. Lu Yunqi answered truthfully. Hearing the old man asking this question, Lu Yunqi was quite puzzled, and looked at the old man. A farmer with a standard image, but the tone of speech and the breath on his body do not look like a farmer. Of course, that is, Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan are too young. If you change to Qi Zongxun, you will definitely be excited when you see the old man in front of you. This old man is the retired professor of politics and law, Chong Dayan. His disciples are all over the political and business circles. It can be said that he is the most powerful old man in Chongqing. Old man, the meat you want is here. At this moment, Qi Xuanxuan walked out with a piece of lean meat. Chong Lao got up and took the lean meat, took out a handful of cash from his trouser pocket, all of which were 5 yuan in change. Little girl, how much is it? According to Qi Xuanxuan was about to say, according to the current price. When she said the price, she was interrupted by Lu Yunqi. Uncle, they are all neighbors. You can take it to eat first, and I'll talk about it next time. Chong Lao's hands may add up to 30 or 40 yuan, according to the current price of lean meat. 2 catties are 50 to 60 yuan. Why is this so embarrassing? We will stay for 2 days. There is a lot of meat at home, so you can eat it first. Lu Yunqi persuaded. After Chong Lao pondered for a moment, he slowly said, that afternoon I will have tea at my house. I still have some good tea leaves in my collection. The taste is not bad. Okay, I will definitely go this afternoon. Lu Yunqi nodded loudly after hearing the sound. It can be seen that this old man is not the kind of person who likes to take advantage of others. He probably also saw that the money in his hand might not be enough to buy 2 caddies of pure lean meat, so he invited them to drink tea. Lu Yun didn't mind this. It's impossible for the husband and wife to bask in the sun and watch the scenery all the time here. After chatting for a few more words, Chong Lao went back. Lu Yun got up and walked out of the courtyard, watching the old man follow the road in front of the courtyard, and after walking up a distance, he entered a small courtyard. That yard happened to be about 100 meters away from the upper right corner of Lu Yunqi and their yard, and the style was roughly the same as this yard. "Husband, what did you talk to that old man just now?" Qi Xuanxuan asked curiously. According to Lu Yunqi's, it is impossible to give away something for no reason, although this amount of money is not even drizzled to their family. "Oh, nothing to talk about, just ask how long we live here." Lu Yun replied with a smile. In his opinion, this old man is quite interesting. Although he looks like a farmer, he doesn't feel simple. The other side, Haochen Building, Deputy General Office. Qi Xuanxuan's uncle, Qi Chen, was sitting on the boss chair in the office, with a man standing in front of him reporting to him. "Mr. Qi, several construction companies have called to ask when the bidding will start on the 2 plots that our company has just won recently." "The Lang family is not moving?" Qi Chen asked lightly. The man in front of him is Qi Chen's confidant and his assistant in the company, whose name is Chu Tian. "Mr. Qi, they haven't been very active since Lang's website server was hacked last time." Chu Tian answered truthfully. The previous contact between Qi Chen and Lang Feng was basically through him, and he naturally knew something. "Okay, you prepare for the bidding first, and I will contact the Lang family." Qi Chen waved his hand and said. Qi Chen didn't let Chu Tian know this time. He already knew that the reason why the old man agreed with Lu Yunqi's grandson-in-law was because he had a strong hacking ability and could well protect the Qi family's network security. When he heard the news, he thought of Lu Yunqi's affairs in all likelihood. Qi Chen had always advocated that Qi Xuanxuan marry to Lang's family. In this case, the entire Haochen group would fall into Qi Chen's hands. But then Qi Xuanxuan suddenly announced that he was married. He originally thought that Lu Yunqi was just a waste of soft food, so it didn't matter to him, as long as Qi Xuanxuan stepped down slowly. But now it seems that Lu Yunqi can be a great help for Qi Xuanxuan based on his hacking ability alone, which Qi Chen absolutely does not want to see. He didn't dare to deal with Qi Zan blatantly. After all, he was a niece, but he could still do the killing with a knife. After Chu Tian left the office, Qi Chen took out an old-fashioned mobile phone from the drawer and replaced it with a new calling card. A number was dialed. "Hey, who?" "Xingchen." Qi Chen replied faintly. "Uncle Chen, what happened? How could you call this number?" asked curiously on the other end of the phone. "Lengjia network should have been done by Lu Yun. You should check other things yourself." After Qi Chen finished speaking, he hung up the phone. During the whole journey, the talk time was less than 30 seconds. Inside the Lengjia mansion, Sichuan province. Because of the last incident, Lang Feng was imprisoned for a full month. When he hung up the phone, he shook the phone with both hands tightly. "Lu Yun up. How come I am so familiar with this name? Keep recalling in my mind. I'm sorry, isn't that guy a waste of soft rice? Can he have such a great skill?" After remembering who was Lu Yun, Lang Feng couldn't help but swear. At that time, when the relationship between Qi Xuanxuan and Lu Yunqi broke out on the internet, Lang Feng used many relationships to investigate Lu Yunqi. A rural boy with an ordinary family, a barbecue stall owner who graduated from a third-rate university, and a wimp who eats soft rice. How could it be the great hacker who defeated the entire Lang's network helplessly? However, Lang Feng also knew that it was impossible for Qi Chen to make this call with the new number, because his private call and the people he knew were all his collaborators who used it to transmit top-secret information. Lang Feng decided to tell Grandpa Lang Hongwei the news, and let him decide what to do next. However, Lu Yunqi on Peach Blossom Island couldn't think that he had been spotted by the Lang family again. This time, it wasn't Lang Feng's little tricks, but the person in charge of the entire Lang family. Lang Hongwei made a full shot. He caused the Lang family to lose tens of billions at a time, and the Lang family spent high prices on major hacker websites to find clues. After learning that it was the son-in-law of the Qi family, he had no desire to recruit. Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan had lunch, and Chong Lao called again, and the two went to the yard next door. Lu Yunqi took out some of the fruits he had brought, and asked Qi Xuanxuan to screw them together to the yard where the old man was. When he came to the door of the small courtyard, Mr. Chong and an old woman who was also dressed plainly stood at the door. Lu Yun stepped forward and handed the fruit in his hand to Chong Lao. "Uncle, these are some fruits and vegetables we brought. It's the first time to come to the door, so be careful and disrespectful." "Well, old man, I'll call you to drink tea, why are you so polite?" Chong Lao said politely. The two met together, and judging from the morning meeting, the young man shouldn't recognize his identity. "The first time I met, I generously gave myself a piece of lean meat. Although it is not expensive, it can be seen as a person. And this time I went to the door and took some fruits." Just because of this intention, Chong Lao had an especially good impression of Lu Yun. After all, what kind of financial temptation hasn't been seen for him, a professor who is almost 70 years old? "Having been engaged in politics and law for decades, I have seen too many people and experienced too many things, and everything is very light. These things seem very ordinary. In fact, at his age, now only his wife and children depend on each other, and there are no children at his knees. How much more can he pursue in life? It's nothing more than having a good time every day, eating and drinking well, waiting for the legs to kick, and the lotus is buried, and you will completely say goodbye to the world. People who don't have much ideas have such simple needs. The most unpretentious things are what they really need." "Father, are you growing your own vegetables in this yard?" Lu Yun turned away from the subject. He didn't know the identity of the old man in front of him, and he didn't mean to flatter himself. "Yes, how do you look good," Chong Lao said with some pride. Then he said to the old woman next to her, "Old woman, go get my treasured tea leaves." "Okay." Chong Lao's wife, named Zhang Hilan, is even more astonishing than Chong Dayan, but few people in Yudu know it. Zhang Hilan responded and went upstairs to get tea. Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan took the initiative to go to the house to help Chong Lao move the tea table and tea set. After placing the tea set, Zhang Hilan also took the tea leaves down. Lu Yun smiled and took the tea from Zhang Hilan. "Master, sit down, I'll make tea." "Oh, your kid can still make tea?" Chong Dean asked curiously, sitting on the chair. Qi Xuanxuan is also very surprised. When will her husband make tea? Only Zhang Hilan smiled and nodded, sat on the chair next to Qi Xuanxuan, and chatted with her about the housework. "Uncle, don't underestimate me," Lu Yunqi said with a wry smile, and then began to clean the tea set. Zhang Hilan also gave Chong Lao a fiercely after hearing this. "Old man, if you have it, you can drink it. If you are so picky, shut up." Sure enough, Chong Lao stopped speaking when his wife spoke. Watching Lu Yunqi's every move with great interest, the more I look at it, the more satisfied I am. Wash tea, make tea, divide tea, all the movements, steps, are very skilled. As a tea lover, Chong Dean knows that making tea is very particular. Many people have been studying this all their lives. There are already many tea houses in Yudu now, all of which are implementing the true ancient way of making tea. For some elegant people, drinking tea is a kind of artistic conception. Sipping tea slowly is a very interesting thing. For ordinary people, it may be a waste of time. Because many people are still accustomed to throwing a pinch of tea directly into the thermos cup, no matter how hot the water is, just fill it up and cover it. Lu Yunqi, on the other hand, is a series of dozens of steps. Each step is neatly organized and elegant, like a veteran who has been in the tea ceremony for many years. This made Chong Dayan looked at and nodded in shock. At least judging from this tea-making technique, there was nothing wrong with it, even better than what he had to do. "Young man, did you specialize in this?" Chong Dean couldn't help asking, sitting in a chair. Hearing what he said, Zhang Hilan and Qi Xuanxuan, both of whom were taking care of each other, also set their eyes on Lu Yun. Not to mention, that action is indeed elegant. Lu Yun started to divide the tea, took a cup and handed it to Chong Dean. "I haven't studied it specifically, but there was an elder who liked to drink tea before, so I went to study for a few days." This is what happened before he crossed over. Qi Xuanxuan stared at her husband with wide eyes. Doesn't this guy blush even if he lied? But when did he learn to make tea? Why don't I know? Oh my god, I just dug a treasure husband. After Lu Yunqi handed Chong Din a cup, Zhang Hilan and Qi Xuanxuan each handed a cup. Before the two had time to drink, Chong Din couldn't help but praised over there, well, this tea is good. Zhang Hilan and Qi Xuanxuan also picked them up and took a bite. Qi Xuanxuan may not feel very obvious, but Zhang Hilan, as a family member of Zhang Hilan in Kyoto, has been with Chong Din for decades, so she can naturally tell the difference. Lu Yun made a tea with a mellow taste and full aftertaste. The taste was delicate and lingering for a long time. In addition to the good tea, it also shows that his tea-making skills are in place. If the skill of making tea is not in place, even if you use the Wuishan de Hongpao for 20 years, if you make a mess, the fragrance will be much weaker. Throughout the afternoon, Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan were drinking tea and chatting in the yard of the old man. Qi Xuanxuan is a listener most of the time. But the more I listened, the more I felt that my husband was so good, and I also discovered why Lu Yunqi treated the two old people so respectfully. Although she didn't know the identity of the two old people, from the knowledge of the two old people, she was definitely not an ordinary old man. Especially what Lu Yunqi and Chong Lao talked about tea made Qi Xuanxuan more sure of her own thoughts. Although she didn't know how Lu Yunqi knew so much, the tea that Chong Lao talked about, Qi Xuanxuan also heard her grandfather say, they were all very expensive tea. How can an ordinary old man know so much? When the sun went down, Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan said goodbye to their little courtyard. As soon as he got home, Lu Yunqi said, my wife, I know you have a lot of questions to ask me, now you ask. Husband, how do you know tea art? Qi Xuanxuan asked seriously, staring at Lu Yun's raised eyes. She felt that she couldn't understand her husband more and more now, and she had to figure out the doubts in her heart. Lu Yun laughed and walked into the kitchen. Doesn't your grandfather like to drink tea? I'm studying online. He certainly wouldn't say that before he crossed over, he had learned this craft on Earth. Of course, even if he said, Qi Xuanxuan would not believe it. After all, going through this kind of thing is too mysterious. Then do you have anything to hide from me? Qi Xuanxuan also followed into the kitchen and asked. Lu Yun groaned, feeling that there is no need to hide anything between the husband and wife, except for his own systematic things. After all, the system can't let anyone know about it, otherwise you will belch yourself. I wrote the novel, Dragon Babu, and the lyrics of Unforgettable Sutra. Lu Yunqi finally chose to confess. Qi Xuanxuan was going to wash the vegetables, but when she heard Lu Yun's words, her steps suddenly stopped. Real, she herself read the novel Tianlongba, and she clearly remembered that the lyrics of the song were sent to the book circle with the author's account. And I found a professional singer from the company to sing, but no one was satisfied. As a result, Lu Yun got up and sang the song directly into the hearts of the people. Thinking about it this way, I'm afraid. It's like a fake replacement, but the copyright fee you gave is definitely not refundable, and it's all given to your grandfather as a gift money. Lu Yunqi said with a smile. When Qi Xuanxuan heard Lu Yunqi's mention of the bride price, she remembered that when Lu Yunqi was in the Kijia Manor, he had beaten 20 million in front of her grandfather. At that time, she thought that Lu Yunqi made money from his own hacking skills and selling firewall vulnerabilities. Unexpectedly, it was actually the money that her company bought the copyright of Denon Babu. Shocked in capitals. Qi, I'm such a stingy person. The money was originally what you deserved, but besides that, what else I don't know. Qi Xuanxuan continued to ask after calming down his good mood. He didn't doubt what Lu Yunqi said. She could figure it out from the Unforgettable Sutra. No, I still know a little about directors and screenwriters. Of course, I only know a little about writing novels and lyrics. Lu Yunqi pretended to beep modestly. If you let other authors know, Yun Kita, who was able to write the novel Tianlong Bashu, said that he only knew a little about writing novels. They probably doubt life seriously. This is just a little understanding, then I can't even count on the street. Qi Xuanxuan was even more surprised. What? Are you still a director and screenwriter? She has seen Lu Yunqi's ability to write novels, and Tianlong Babu is the best proof. As for the lyrics, Unforgettable Gold is also the best proof. But how can a young man who is only 25 and 16 years old be so versatile? Understand, so, my wife, don't worry, your entertainment company, you can always find me if you need it in the future, let me earn some extra money. Lu Yun said with a smile. Qi Xuanxuan was about to say how Lu Yunqi could install it like this, when the phone rang suddenly. Lu Yun smiled and walked to the chopping board to wash the vegetables and prepare to cook, while Qi Xuanxuan took out his mobile phone to answer the call. Mr. Qi, I'm sorry to disturb you, but there is something on the company side I have to report to you. Assistant Xiao Gu's voice came on the other end of the phone. Qi Xuanxuan grabbed half of the cucumber from the chopping board, took a bite, and asked calmly, say. She had already arranged the company's affairs, thinking that Xiao Jiyu was something trivial. President Qi, the approval process for the 2 pieces of land in the Na area is already in progress. There are now several construction companies bidding. Finally, you need to approve and I would like to ask when you can come back. What are they? We have 4 local construction companies in Yudu and 3 in Sichuan province. Okay, I see, you can send their information and the company's analysis report to my mailbox together. Qi Xuanxuan finished speaking and prepared to hang up. Okay, President Qi, there's something else, I don't know if I should say it. Xiao Jiyu on the phone said again. Can you finish talking in one go? Qi Xuanxuan frowned. He hesitated on the other end of the phone and said, the official website of Lengjia released a message today, saying that it is going to establish a real estate branch in Yudu, and it has won the construction bid of Yudu No. 16 Middle School. There was another piece of 200,000 square meters of wasteland not far from the school, which was also bought by the Leng family at a high price. Quote, 200,000 square meters of wasteland. Hearing this news, Qi Xuanxuan was taken aback. She had guessed that the Leng family might set up a branch in Yudu, but she didn't expect it to be so fast. He actually won the bid for the construction of the municipal middle school. In the construction area, the entire southwest, Leng's house is one of the best. The quality is good and the speed is fast. As long as the money is in place, the construction period can only be advanced and never delayed. Yes, President Qi. Okay, I see, you pay attention to their starting time. I will look at the materials of these companies right away, and then reply as soon as possible. Qi Xuanxuan directly hung up the phone after speaking. She knew that this was Leng's revenge. The 2 pieces of land that Qi Xuanxuan had taken still involved some demolition issues, but Leng Jiaxuan took down the wasteland. It is also next to the school. If Leng's commercial housing is built first, it will definitely seize the market opportunity, and Qi Xuanxuan will lose. If the land sold for 3 billion yuan cannot seize the opportunity, it may be a non-profitable project. After hanging up the phone, Qi Xuanxuan went upstairs to read the information. On the other side, Leng Feng came to Yudu again. This time, he was not here for fun, nor did he do any useless stupid things, as if he had changed a person. As soon as he arrived in Yudu, he was intensively preparing for the new company. Even Su Xiaoyu, the beauty who made him droop, was not very interested. Just made a phone call and asked Sihai Entertainment about how the new drama was filmed. In the Marriott presidential suite, Leng Feng and his assistant were holding red wine glasses and looking at the beautiful night view of Yudu. This time, I want you to know how good I am, Leng Feng. After taking a sip of red wine, Leng Feng slapped the secretary's butt fiercely. The secretary said shyly, Young Master Leng, I know, you are amazing. Let's contact the people on the dark web first, and I will clean up you after the business is done. Leng Feng squeezed the secretary's soft breasts and ordered. Peach Blossom Island at this time. Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan had dinner and they were enjoying the cool in the yard. Suddenly Chong Lao's face was pale, and he ran over with a flustered expression. Young man, hurry up, do a favor, my wife fell down just now. When the 2 heard this, they stood up quickly. Okay, don't worry, uncle, let's go and see first. Did you call the doctor on the island? Elderly people in their 60s and 70s are most afraid of wrestling. This one is prone to stroke and dangerous. Already called. Chong Lao walked ahead with sweat on his forehead. Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan followed closely, with solemn expressions on their faces. Soon, the 3 of them came to Chong Lao's yard. Zhang Hilan lay in the living room on the first floor and whispered, looking very painful. When Qi Xuanxuan saw this, she was about to get ready to help. She thought she was too old and could not help, so she called the 2 of them to help. My wife, don't move. Lu Yunqi quickly stopped her. He immediately glanced at the location where Zhang Hilan had fallen. It was obvious that he had accidentally slipped down the stairs. At this time, if one were to help him up, the situation would be worse if one was not good. Uncle, how long will the doctor be there? Lu Yunqi looked at Mr. Chong, asked, and then said to Qi Xuanxuan, my wife, go see and find a blanket for the auntie. The weather is not very hot yet, but the moisture on the ground is very heavy. In case of injury, moisture can easily enter the body. Qi Xuanxuan glanced at Chong Lao, who nodded. After all, this is someone's house. It is not easy to enter casually. It must be approved by the elderly. Uncle, is there hot water in your kitchen? Lu Yunqi continued to ask. He mainly wanted to find an opportunity to get some blood cucumber from the mysterious space, and he must avoid the old man. Yes, Chong Lao said, and when he heard the sound of a motorcycle outside, he turned his head and went out to the yard to open the door. Lu Yunqi heard the words and ran into the kitchen, and after pouring a glass of boiling water, another cucumber came out. When he came out, someone in a white coat was already checking Zhang Hilan. Lu Yunqi handed Zhang Hilan a cup of hot water. At this time, it is good to drink some hot water to warm the stomach. 5 minutes later, after the doctor's examination, his face solemnly said to Chong Lao, Master, your wife's situation is mainly due to his old age and some lack of blood, plus the fact that he fell just now. The situation is. Chong Lao glanced at Zhang Hilan, who was already pale on the recliner, and asked sadly, then what medicine should I prescribe now? The doctor shook his head. The old lady should have had a serious illness before. She was very weak at first, like a leaky balloon. She can only be hung with medicines that nourish qi and blood, right? This doctor is Chong Lao's disciple, knowing Chong Lao will stay here for a period of time, so a top domestic doctor specially arranged here is here. I was afraid of an accident by the old man. Auntie, I have a cucumber grown in my hometown with blood and vitality. You can try it. Lu Yunqi couldn't bear to look at Zhang Hilan's depressed state, and walked to the side and said. When Qi Xuanxuan heard it, her eyes lit up. She knew the effect of this blood cucumber the most. Maybe it was really effective. Boy, what are you doing? The old man can't eat cold food in this state. Don't just give it something to eat. When the white coat heard that Lu Yunqi wanted to give the old man a cucumber, he immediately became anxious. He could still be hung with the medicine to replenish qi and blood. If something unexpected happened at this time, then he would be finished. If there is an accident under his nose, the big people in Guangyu will be able to quietly turn him into Shenzhong. Uncle, the cucumber my husband planted is very useful for nourishing qi and blood. Seeing Aunt Zhang so painful, we also want to do our best. Qi Xuanxuan walked to Chong Lao and said. Although the few people just met together, in the afternoon, Qi Xuanxuan and Zhang Hilan had a very speculative chat, otherwise she wouldn't make Lu Yun troublesome. Thank you, the old woman just happens to be a little hungry. While Chong Lao was still hesitating, Zhang Hilan said weakly. Hearing this from his wife, Chong Lao also agreed. Older, you can't make fun of the old woman's body. At this time, the old lady is absolutely not allowed to eat cold things, let alone raw cucumbers. The doctor in the white coat kept admonishing there. Chong Dean waved his hand, his face was a little unhappy and said, okay, shut up. The doctor closed his mouth immediately and watched quietly. This scene fell into Qi Xuanxuan's eyes, which made her very puzzled, but it was just a puzzle in her heart. 10 minutes later, after eating the blood cucumber, Zhang Hilan's face turned ruddy, and she felt a warm current wandering through her limbs in her cold body. Old Chong, I feel better. After Zhang Hilan recovered, the first sentence was to report to Chong Lao that he was safe. Then he asked Lu Yun again, Xiao Lu, do you still have this cucumber? I think this cucumber is really useful. Quote, Lu Yunqi was about to speak, and the doctor rushed over, old lady, can I give you another pulse? Although Chong Dean saw that his wife's complexion improved, he was a little worried, so he said, I just recovered, so it's okay to let the doctor see it. Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan just stood there waiting. For the purpose of replenishing qi and blood, the efficacy of qi and blood cucumber has been tested many times, and there is absolutely no problem. At least Qi Xuanxuan, Baicha, Lin Wengxin, Qi Lingshan and others, including Tang Tang and Guago, eat them every day. It's amazing, it's really amazing. The old lady's pulse is much better than before, and the blood in the body has recovered a lot. After the doctor finished the pulse, he couldn't help but exclaimed. Xiao Lu, thank you. Do you still have the cucumber just now? I'll buy some. Chong Dayan was very excited when he heard the doctor's words, and walked to Lu Yunqi and asked. Uncle Chong, there are still a few more in the small courtyard below. Lu Yunqi said, after a pause, and continued to smile. I'll send a few more in a while. Zhang auntie, please eat first, wait until you return to Yudu, I'm watching look at the harvest at home. Okay, thank you Xiao Lu, so you leave it to the phone, then you will return to Yudu, and it will be convenient to contact. Zhang Hilan finished eating the blood cucumber and almost recovered, walked to Lu Yun and said excitedly. Only when she ate this chi blood cucumber did she know the magic of this cucumber, and she obviously felt that her body was more energetic. Lu Yun smiled and nodded, leaving a phone call to Zhang Hilan, and then taking Qi Xuanxuan to bid farewell and returned to his courtyard. After that, Lu Yunqi gave Zhang Hilan 4 cucumbers of vitality and blood alone. The next day, Lu Yun got up early, and after preparing breakfast for Qi Xuanxuan, he sat alone in the yard and turned on the computer he carried with him. I actually saw a piece of news on the dark web that made him creepy. That's right, Lang Feng's mission to recruit top hackers from around the world to attack the Kijia network server. More importantly, someone released a message to buy Lu Yun's life. Because it was on the dark web, the posting tasks were anonymous. If Lu Yunqi did not investigate, he would definitely not know who posted these tasks. But, of course he knew who was behind it. After all, he didn't offend many people, and the one who hated him the most was Lang's family. But he couldn't understand how the Lang family would know that he attacked the Lang family's network system. Even if he has the motivation, no one knows Lu Yunqi's hacker prowess except Qi Xuanxuan and Qi Zongxun. Seeing these two pieces of news, Lu Yunqi felt a sense of tension in his heart. Hacking is a good thing to say, but the point is that someone wants to spend money to buy his own life, which is too much. The global assassination organization is not only the dark web, there are other organizations. Even if Lu Yunqi can handle the dark web, he will use his #1 authority to give this task. But what about the tasks of other channels? Husband, what are you looking at? When Lu Yun was meditating, Qi Xuanxuan's clear and beautiful voice came from behind him. Oh, I just look at some of the latest information on the hacker network. Lu Yunqi lied. You can confess other things with your wife, but there is no need to talk about such unhappy things and things that worries your wife. Oh, shall we go back tomorrow? Qi Xuanxuan asked. Now Qi Xuanxuan's company is anxiously waiting for her to go back to determine the construction company and the entertainment company's side. Since the Lang family entered the Yudu real estate industry in an open manner, he unilaterally tore up the agreement between the two parties that year and made it clear that he wanted to retaliate against the Qi family. Although Lang's family is not involved in the entertainment industry, it is difficult to guarantee that Lang Feng will retaliate against the film crew of the Tianlong 8 Division. Well, we will go back tomorrow. By the way, my wife, I saw a message on the hacker network. Lang Feng is looking for a top hacker and is about to invade the Haochen Group's network. We have to go back and prepare. Lu Yun closed the computer, held Qi Xuanxuan's jade hand back, and said solemnly. After listening to Qi Xuanxuan, her body was slightly startled. It seems that he has a good understanding. Lang Feng is indeed a person who must report to him. The lessons he taught last time were not enough. The last time Lang's network was attacked, it was Lu Yun who initiated the attack. Qi Xuanxuan knew about this, but he didn't expect Lang Jiaran to counterattack so quickly. The other side, Yudu Marriott Hotel, in the presidential suite. Lang Feng's secretary came out of the bathroom wearing a nightgown, and suddenly heard the phone ring. Who? Oh, yes, I see, continued to investigate. Picking up the phone, he hung up without saying a word. Lang Feng lay on his back on the bed and asked curiously, my dear, who called it early in the morning? There is news on the dark web that there is a hacker among the top 50 in the world who is willing to come over. Oh, the top 50 in the world. Yes, I went to set up the branch today. The compensation headquarters on the construction site will call in the afternoon. Go and contact the construction team in advance. Lang Feng nodded in satisfaction, and continued to order. Secretly thinking, let your Qi family dare to go back, and dare to find a waste son-in-law who eats soft rice to disgust me, I must take revenge this time. This time, Lang Hongwei, the contemporary patriarch of the Lang family, personally supervised the battle, and Lang Feng is full of information, and he will definitely be able to keep the Qi family's feats. Sometimes business wars involve the whole body. Of course, it can also be disintegrated from within, or gradually swallowed. Young Master Lang, then I'll go busy. The secretary changed clothes, twisted her hips, whispered. Xiao Sao Ho, really tormenting people, quickly get these things done. Lang Feng cursed with a smile. After the secretary left, Lang Feng took out the private cell phone that he didn't use frequently, and found a number and dialed it. The phone rang 10 times before being connected. Hey. Are you sure which company is easy to use? She hasn't come back yet, and it's not certain for the time being. This matter must be signed and nodded for better results. Understood. Simple conversation. The call time is still within 30 seconds. After hanging up, Lang Feng dialed a number again. This time the call was answered in seconds, and it seemed to be waiting for this call. I'm already on the crew. Everything goes according to the original plan. To create an accident, to stop the crew, it is best to die halfway. Lang Feng commanded with a stern face. Clear. I heard that the heroine is her best friend. Let's start with the heroine. Good Lang Xiao. After finishing the order here, Lang Feng went on to make a few more phone calls, all of which were aimed at the layout of several key projects of Haochen Group. Obviously, Lang Feng is planning to gradually swallow or destroy Qi's key projects this time, and then come to directly defeat Qi's from the stock market. However, Qi Xuanxuan, who is still living an idyllic life with Lu Yunqi on Peach Blossom Island, has no idea about his layout. At this time, Qi Xuanxuan knew that Lang Feng was looking for someone to deal with Qi's network server, but with Lu Yunqi, she felt particularly relieved. Especially after Lu Yun was able to paralyze Lang's network system, Qi Xuanxuan believed in his hacking ability. Wife, let's invite Mr. Chong to have a meal at home in the evening. Meeting is also a kind of fate. We will go back tomorrow. What do you think? In the afternoon, the two were walking in the peach forest, when Lu Yunqi suddenly asked. Okay, I don't think the two old people are simple, at least I feel very knowledgeable about this, and it's good to know or know. Qi Xuanxuan said solemnly. This is not to say that Qi Xuanxuan is a utilitarian person, but that she feels that the identities of Chongdin and Zhang Hilan are not simple. In front of her husband, she can say whatever she wants. Well, that's okay, when I go back in a while, I'll go shout. Okay, by the way, husband, at noon, my mother called me and said that the villa at home has already been built, and told us to bring sugar and fruit and go back to live for a while during the summer vacation. At the end of the day, Qi Xuanxuan and Lu Yunqi also strolled around Taohua Island and found that the scenery in Lu Yunqi's hometown was also good. It happened to remember that when Lu Yunqi was cooking at noon, he received a call from her mother-in-law. Okay, there will be a while, we will handle the company's affairs first, and then go back to live in peace of mind for a while. Lu Yun nodded and said. 5 page M. The two returned to their yard. Qi Xuanxuan was washing vegetables in the kitchen, and Lu Yun got up and called the Chongdayan and his wife to finish the meal. Because Lu Yunqi's blood cucumber saved Zhang Hilan, the Chongdin couple also liked Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan, the young couple, very much. Lu Yunqi personally cooked the dinner. Considering the age of the Chongdayan and his wife, he cooked some light dishes. After the meal, Zhang Hilan kept praising Lu Yunqi for his good cooking skills and said that he would recognize Lu Yunqi as a godson. Lu Yunqi just smiled and did not answer. Early the next morning, Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan got on the steamer from Taohua Island to Magic City. It was not until 3 o'clock in the afternoon that the plane the two took finally landed at Yudu Airport. After getting off the plane, the two went directly to the company. When Qi Xuanxuan arrived at her office, several company project leaders had already stood at the door, all waiting for Qi Xuanxuan to make up his mind. What are you doing around so many people? Qi Xuanxuan asked with a frown. Just now, she was going to go home, but her spirits were not very good due to the fatigue of the journey, but she received a call from the assistant as soon as she got off the plane. It is said that several of the company's projects have encountered problems. Now the project leaders are waiting at the door of the office, so Qi Xuanxuan and his wife came directly to the company and dealt with the company's affairs first. Pushing the door open, Qi Xuanxuan walked towards the boss chair. Assistant Xiao Jiyu followed behind and said, "Mr. Qi, not only the person in charge of these projects, Mr. Ning also called and said that something happened to the crew." Qi Xuanxuan sat in her seat, and when she heard that there was an accident on the crew's side, she was startled, her face rose with a chill. "What happened to the crew's side?" "This, Mr. Ning didn't tell me, just let me talk to her after you came back, and she came back to report to you face to face," Assistant Xiaogu explained. "In the past 2 days, Qi Xuanxuan has been absent, but she has been busy with some, especially yesterday and today, people have been calling, but it is all bad news." Sitting on the sofa, Lu Yunqi frowned slightly when he heard that there was an accident on the new drama, and took out the computer and started typing on the keyboard. "Let's talk about your business first," Qi Xuanxuan said to a group of project leaders. "What are the specific things in the new drama can only be known after Ning Nanan comes back, so that we can solve the current problem first." A tall woman in professional attire took the lead to walk to Qi Xuanxuan's desk. Wei reported, "Mr. Qi, we have many properties in Zhongnan, Zhongbei, Yudong and other areas in Yudu. Recently, there have been gangsters all the time, make trouble. You can't handle this little matter well. What do I want you to do? Don't you know to call the police? Is there no security in the sales department?" When Qi Xuanxuan heard this, a three-pointed anger rose in her heart. "This kind of trivial matter actually came to report to myself. I really don't know how these people got to this position in the group before." Hearing that Qi Xuanxuan became a little angry, the project leader tried to argue, "Mr. Qi, they didn't smash anything in the sales department, nor did they do anything. They called the police and the police couldn't control it. Then what did they do?" Qi Xuanxuan's voice became heavier. "The feedback from every sales office is that on the road at the entrance of our sales department, there are more than a dozen people carrying flyers of other properties to solicit customers every day. Because it was on the road outside the sales office, people sent out flyers to attract customers, so we couldn't say anything, let alone call the police. After inquiring, we knew that as long as they followed those people to see other properties, they could get 50 to 50%, 100 fast red envelopes. Basically, it is accurate. Now many real estates have no one to inspect the house in the past 2 days, let alone the transaction." Quote, "This person is the marketing person in charge of Haochen Real Estate, who is responsible for the sale of new properties under Haochen Real Estate. If it is formal means, she will not be afraid, but the opponent's current practice of no lower limit, she said she is very helpless." The other project leaders and Lu Yunqi were shocked after hearing this. This shows that someone is going to target us and make a small move that violates the unspoken rules of the industry. These people are two. The key is that the people they pull have no fixed real estate, and they don't know who is doing the trick. Yeah, it seems they just need to pull people out of our property. After listening to the report of the marketing director, Qi Xuanxuan frowned, thinking in her heart, "This kind of helpless method is really a headache. After all, people haven't gone to the sales office to make trouble, even if they call the police, there is no way. If this continues, if the real estate has not been sold for a long time, it is equivalent to the funds invested by the group. There is no way to withdraw it as expected, and the group's liquidity will be restricted. You are the marketing director, tell me your opinion," Qi Xuanxuan said to the person after a moment of indulgence. "President Qi, my suggestion is to engage in activities and reduce prices," the marketing director said straightforwardly. "It seems that I have already thought about the situation at this moment before. How much do you plan to lower the price?" Qi Xuanxuan squinted at the marketing director and asked. The price of real estate generally does not fluctuate too much, and in the housing authority, each real estate has a record price. Qi Xuanxuan can also agree if the price cut can restore sales. "Reduce the price by 10%, the marketing director said simply and neatly. At present, the housing price of Haochen Group, high-end real estate, is about 3,000 to 5,000 yuan per square meter, and the price of ordinary commercial housing is between 15,000 and 18,000 per square meter. If the price is reduced by 10%, it means that the price of high-end real estate will be reduced by 3,500 per square meter, and the price of ordinary commercial housing will be reduced by 1,500 to 1,800 per square meter. However, this is also within the normal range. For example, in some small county towns, if you ask for the price 1 month before and after the new year, it will definitely be more than a few hundred yuan per square meter than usual. Suddenly reducing prices so much, will it affect other properties? Qi Xuanxuan asked in a deep voice. She looked at it differently from others. She had to consider what impact this sudden price cut of 10% would have on the entire Haochen real estate. If all the properties of Haochen Group are reduced at the same time, it will also affect the shares of Haochen Group. Mr. Qi, there must be some impact, but without reducing the price, we have no one in the real estate now, and no transaction. The expression on the marketing director's face is very distressed, as if he is completely considerate of the company. Others are also talking about it, although it seems that a 10% price reduction is a reasonable range, but this is not a new year, and the price reduction activities still make the outside world suspicious. You go to prepare the activity plan first, and show it to me when it's done. Qi Xuanxuan instructed the director. President Qi, look, this is our marketing plan. Who knows, the marketing director directly took out a marketing plan from his bag and put it on Qi Xuanxuan's desk. This well-prepared operation made Qi Xuanxuan a little unprepared. Should we praise her subordinates for their high efficiency, or should we say that she has the foresight? At this time, Lu Yun, sitting on the sofa, beckoned to Xiao Jiyu, come here and ask you something. Assistant Xiao Jiyu quickly walked to Lu Yunqi and whispered, Uncle, what's the matter? What's that woman's name? Who? That's the marketing director. Lu Yun raised his eyes and looked at the marketing director. Assistant Xiao Jiyu hesitated for a moment, then whispered, she's Li Juyu, what's the matter, Grandma, are you? It's okay, go there. Lu Yun waved his hand and said to Assistant Xiao Jiyu. After Lu Yunqi finished speaking, he logged on to the dark web and investigated Li Juyu. If you don't investigate, you don't know. A big problem was discovered after the investigation. According to the information on the dark web, this Li Juyu actually entered Haochen real estate 3 years ago, and in 2 years, he went from an ordinary sales to the current sales director of Haochen real estate. The speed of improvement in this workplace can be described as horrible. More importantly, in Li Juyu's private account, 3 days ago, on the day that Lu Yunqi and Qi Xuanxuan went to Taohua Island, they actually credited a huge sum of 2 million. Not to mention, there was a call with Leng Feng on the phone, record. The sales director of Haochen Group has an annual salary of only 6 million. It is not the end of the year. It is definitely not the salary that the company paid her. In recent months, the sales of Haochen Group's new properties have not been very good, even if the commission is not so much. When Lu Yunqi traced the source of funds, he discovered that the 2 million were actually transferred from overseas accounts. Ding, trigger a new task in the system, help Haochen Real Estate solve the sales problem of new real estate, and get the martial arts script, Legend of Sword and Fairy. Hearing this task of the system, Lu Yun tickled the corner of his mouth. The Legend of the Sword and the Fairy is a fairy-style TV series that has spread all over the country on the earth, and it can be said to be a palace-level work. System, is this to give me the script directly? Lu Yunqi asked curiously. If the system directly gave the script, then there would be no time to write it. Yes, the host, as long as you complete the task, the script will be directly transferred to the system space and can be retrieved at any time. Okay, understand. Lu Yun nodded at the starting point and replied. At this point, Qi Xuanxuan had also read the marketing plan submitted by Li Juyu, and was about to agree to it. Lu Yunqi stood up from the sofa, wait. When everyone heard the sound, they all looked back at Lu Yunqi. What do you mean? Who are you? Li Juyu first reacted and asked. She had been doing business outside and didn't know Lu Yunqi. Of course, it had been exposed in the news. In Li Juyu's view, it was just a friend relationship. Although the other persons in charge did not speak, the expressions on their faces were similar to those of Li Juyu. They were all curious about who this person was and dared to speak up here. Obviously, they had been anxious about Qi Xuanxuan's decision just now, and had not noticed Xiao Gu's attitude towards Lu Yunqi. He is my husband, Qi Xuanxuan said. Although the sound is not loud, it allows everyone in the entire office to hear clearly. Everyone's face was filled with horror. Although there are rumors, now I heard Qi Xuanxuan admit that everyone except Xiao Jiyu was shocked. Li Juyu looked at Lu Yunqi vigilantly. She learned from Lang Feng that Lu Yunqi's hacking skills were very powerful, and she was very curious about the man who made the Lang family want to get rid of it. My wife, this plan can't be used, and this person can't use it. Lu Yunqi walked behind Qi Xuanxuan and picked up the plan on the table. With a squeak, it was torn off directly. What do you mean? Even if you are President Qi's husband, you can't just tear off the plan I worked hard to make. Li Juyu was stupid and said with a flush of anger. This plan was specially designed by her with empty thoughts. Of course, the most important thing is that for Qi Xuanxuan, this plan does not seem to be a problem on the surface, but it is actually a pit. Lu Yunqi's movements made Qi Xuanxuan stunned. She knows that her husband is versatile, but business is very different from writing, singing, and hacking. However, at this time, Qi Xuanxuan did not stop Lu Yunqi, at least now she has no better way other than agreeing to this plan. Li Juyu, aged 27, joined Haochen Real Estate for 3 years. In 2 years, he went from an ordinary salesperson to a marketing director. 3 days ago. Lu Yunqi calmly took the torn plan in his hand and spoke slowly. Are you investigating me? Before Lu Yunqi finished speaking, Li Juyu was already panicked. She didn't expect that Qi Xuanxuan did not investigate her. Lu Yun started investigating this guy, not to mention her, and actually investigated her private account income. Ask you 3 questions. First, 3 days ago, after you talked with a person named Lang Feng in your hand, your account was 2 million more. Why? Second, there are 2 marketing plans in your email. The content is about 10% discount of Haochen Real Estate, and the other is to pull heads. What's the explanation for this? Third, as the sales director, you don't know the loss that Haochen Real Estate will bring to the group after a 10% reduction in the price of all properties of Haochen Real Estate. Knowing that the consequences are serious, but acting for the company's sake, encourage my wife to sign. Lu Yun started walking towards Li Juyu step by step, and asked slowly. These were all Li Juyu's information that he had just investigated through the dark web and discovered after invading her mobile phone through the Bluetooth of the mobile phone of the people present. The others looked shocked, looked at Li Juyu, and then turned their gazes on Lu Yun again. Isn't Mr. Qi's husband rumored to be the one who eats soft food? How can you do things so meticulously and vigorously? Qi Xuanxuan stood up from her chair, walked to Lu Yunqi's side, and asked in a low voice, Director Li, now give me a reasonable explanation. Originally, Qi Xuanxuan didn't quite believe what Lu Yunqi said. However, when Lu Yunqi said that Li Juyu suddenly credited a huge sum of 2 million yuan 3 days ago, and it was also from an overseas account, and it was also 3 days ago that people from the sales office began to make trouble. If not for Lu Yunqi's words just now, Qi Xuanxuan would really believe in Li Juyu. Qi Xuanxuan knows her husband's hacking abilities. Investigating these should not be a big problem, so I believe him very much. She couldn't believe what the consequences would be if she signed this plan. At least because of this plan, a series of follow-up chain reactions will be related to Qi Xuanxuan, and then she will become the sinner of the Qi family. You dared to hack my phone, I want to sue you for infringement of privacy. Li Juyu, who had been disguised, flushed, said angrily. She will definitely not admit it. Once this kind of thing is implemented, even if she has the ability in the future, she will not be able to get involved in this industry. As for the fast promotion, her explanation is that she has strong business abilities. Sue me. Think about yourself first, Lu Yunqi said lightly. Xiao Jiyu, tell the personnel department to suspend all duties of Li Juyu and let the legal department investigate whether she is suspected of betraying company secrets. Qi Xuanxuan instructed the assistant. His face was gloomy and his tone was angry. Li Juyu staggered all over, and she retreated several steps before she managed to stabilize her figure. No, President Qi, I know it was wrong, President Qi, the company still needs me, and the sale of new real estate still needs me. Li Juyu looked in a trance, begging for mercy with a hint of crying. At this moment, the other project leaders were all panicked. Everyone knew how Li Juyu climbed up before, but he just didn't say anything. Now they are doing things about eating inside and out, and several responsible persons sneered at the woman. Do you really think that Haochen Real Estate can't turn without you? Qi Xuanxuan said coldly. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.